in the taxi, back seat. We are in traffic for just about 5 seconds. The driver got down, walked over to Boomerang nightclub, the front there, because there's a small gutter there, and started urinating, if I can say that.
Wow.
And then the light turns green, and people are honking, beep, 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 beep. This guy's now shaking his willy. His willy. Buckles up nicely, takes his time. People are honking, beep, beep,
Crosses
beep,
the
beep.
street.
Yes, walks to his car. And then somebody shouts like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know who said, all those things. You know what he says? I didn't win, I win, you that. At that minute, when he sat in the car and he sparked and then we were moving, I couldn't believe.
That is you, Jay Foley, who is his passenger.
Yes. At that minute, I said, you know
Give
what?
up, eh?
Like,
Really?
it's a beautiful place to be. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
The Ghanaian moment.
You know, but there are a lot of things that we do as Ghanaians that, you know, makes us Ghanaians. You know,
Yes.
it makes it beautiful. You appreciate it even better when you're alone outside somewhere. So, I'm Ghana. You know, this will happen. Ghana.
Ghanaians, it would have turned into a jump.
You know, so maybe it might not be right, but it makes us who we are. And
You know how the bus system, the transit system works in the UK. Like, you know, it's so on point. You know, one time I was chasing after the bus, and I stopped. I said, no. In my country, the bus will come to me.
They'll beg you, actually.
Yes. In fact, they will stop people. The
anywhere.
mates will stop their cars and say,
Stop
"Tell me to-"
traffic, force people to cross.
Yes. This is what makes us Ghanaian.
True.
It's these stories that we'll never forget. But anyways, that on the side. Welcome to the show again. There's a whole lot of conversations we're going to be having this morning. But the top of our charts on conversations is the rise of the podcast industry. Now, you know, of course, all these Twitter spaces, you go online and listen to things on YouTube. You jump on certain platforms and apps to download and listen to certain themes and conversations about certain topics and all. All this podcast conversation is, has sort of become a major player in a way people get entertained. Now, there are some people who are at the forefront of this conversation. They'll be our guests this morning as we delve and look into that. But on the back of that, I want to say congratulations to our man, Serial. Yes. Bim for life.
Thank you.
Bim for life.
Thank you. You know,
But you know-
Bim side, we just win. We don't
Yes.
go to court. We don't get any
No,
problems.
you people go to
We
court
just
too,
win.
please. You
Let's
people
play.
Hollywood
you
has
people also go to
called
court.
Serial.
Please.
Oh, now this is serious information for those who are watching and listening. Hollywood has called Serial.
Hey.
Yes. Serial, you might want to tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
so it's a nomination for The African Whisperer. It's a podcast I work on with Lika Sumba. She's the host and the originator of the idea, but I handle the copywriting and the actual production of the whole podcast. So sound bedding, recording, engineering, mixing, mastering, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
All that. And then this morning, woke up to a nomination from the Society of
Oh.
Voice Arts and Science.
What a coincidence.
All the way
We're
up
talking
in
about
Hollywood.
podcast.
Yeah. So I'll do my little breakdown.
Yeah. But you didn't respond to my watching sponsoring.
No, the watch is on me. Is it just watch you want?
Yeah, just watch it.
Babe, let's not be.
Celebrate.
Let's not be letting people see us on
watch it
TV.
in the house today.
Yeah, no, it's on Serial, not on the house.
I mean,
It's on Serial.
yeah, Serial is
Yeah.
I almost got away with it on the house.
I know, right?
Wele egg.
Wele egg what?
Meat.
No,
That's all.
Wele fish egg.
Even production is in my
Talia.
ear making order. Somebody said 2 egg.
You.
But
Wow,
no problem. We'll have
congratulations.
our own party, Charlie. It's
Well,
worth
but then this is a
celebrating.
big deal. I mean, this is
Yeah,
a very
it
big deal.
is.
We can't sit on this. I mean,
It
because
is
for all
a
you know,
big
it
deal.
was what if you win? Like,
Yeah.
sheesh. He will need.
At least this time around, you don't have to go around media houses.
Yes.
No.
Trying to get an interview.
No.
We'll do it right here.
We'll
for
do it
you.
right here.
Yeah.
Culture Daily. We'll smash it up.
You see, the Ghanaian that we are, you know, so when he wins, then he'll leave us here. Then no.
Are you going to Hollywood?
He won't go. He won't
Are you going to Hollywood?
We'll talk about it. If I say it now, the witches will spawn my TV.
That's true, though. Especially where we are from.
Yeah, so we're talking podcast conversations this morning, and this has also come up. So congratulations to Serial and Lee Kasumba.
Yeah.
Yes, Lee Kasumba. Yes, and also
She Ghanaian?
congratulations to
No.
Where's she
She's
from?
from
South
Botswana
Africa. Oh,
and South
okay.
Africa.
Yeah, you know he's international.
Hey,
guy.
you're a big boy.
Oh, of course.
Hey, then I'm chilling with big boys.
Yes.
Hey.
And then, but Ghana is winning today. David Nicholson,
Yeah,
right?
David.
Yes. So I want to understand, but I think that he was probably part of a production. I don't know if you saw. Have you heard of Pentatonics? You know, in December, right? We all go online and want to type Christmas carols, and there's this particular group that always, you probably would find their songs popping up, if not Mariah Carey, their songs will pop up.
Mostly a cappella as well.
A cappella, yes, Pentatonix, and their singing is just amazing. So they are yet to release something this December. From the post we gathered from David Nicholsay, I think he's a part of a production.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's...
My understanding is that he handled the
He
production.
says he's a production coordinator
for Ghana.
For Ghana.
Okay.
And his production company. So he,
North
David Nicholsay Jr., is production
Yes. Yes.
he's a production coordinator.
Yeah.
And then his North Production Limited is a production company for Ghana. So I want to think that the part that features Ochami Kwame and
the Ghana.
family
I think
and
the
the
theme
Ghanaian
is Christmas
community.
around the world. So they're kind of bringing in footage and experiences of how Christmas is in a
Celebrated.
family sense from various places around the
And
world.
there you have on your screen, it says Pentatonix Around the World for the Holidays. It's an official trailer, Disney streaming. It's out on the 2nd of December, Ghana to the world. And it says, super proud of Ochami Kwame and his wonderful family. Well, you see shots of them in there. Production coordinator, Ghana, David A. Nicholsay Jr. And his name sounds like somebody who won, who built one of those senior secondary schools back in the days. Yes. And production company, North Productions Limited. A big thank you to Holly Ritchie, Edwin Elso, Done and Dusted. I thought that was also a name.
I know, right?
Done and Dusted, some twins. And so let's play that. And yes, we just click play for you to just watch it. And that is the trailer on your screens now.
Disney Plus and Pentatonix are bringing
Passing on our stories and our traditions.
There's a ton of fan mail.
There are letters from all over the world.
Dear Pentatonix,
I'm writing to you from Ghana.
from Tokyo.
Iceland,
Grenada.
and I live in Mexico.
This one's from Scott's mom. And this one. And this one.
She's a fan.
We all come from different backgrounds and different holiday traditions, but we can come together and make perfect harmony.
Joy to the world and we share the love and sing along. Fa la la cappella.
It's a little pitchy, but it's good.
Pentatonix around the world for the holiday. Streaming December 2nd.
What if we use guitars? We've been over this. Voices only.
But guitars are so cool.
On Disney Plus.
Well, let me just come with a little bit of a critique, which we know we do as Ghanaians. Once in a while, we have to do that. Professionalism is that why aren't we able to create African stories that we are also proud to be part of? And this
What kind of African stories are you talking about?
What is the African Christmas? I know Christmas isn't an African thing, but of course it become a global thing. And have we? It's like sometimes we forget. When I was really young, I'm old.
I know.
When I was really young, I miss local Christmas carols. I miss those ones. On radio, you'd hear, and TV, you hear more of that than even the foreign ones. I mean, the foreign ones, the farthest I'll go is Jingle Bells. I hear in church. But at home, on radio, on TV, you hear the Mama Fish Shop. Oh,
We still do, or we don't do that?
But you don't. I don't know. I feel like the generation now, we just
You're not interested in things like that.
It takes effort to own parts of your culture.
Yes.
We can't just assume that it is our culture, so it will
It's there.
flourish,
It flourishes on its own. Exactly.
We are heavily invested in Western culture.
Yes.
And that is our biggest problem. We are so urbanized and cosmopolitan that people are so connected to what's happening in America more than what's happening here. And the things that you're saying that we used to do, like I love Christmas because of Try Your Luck. Do you remember Try Your Luck?
I mean, seriously.
I used to walk through
It's
the
old,
bush.
The
The little
balloon,
balloon
eh?
thing. We used to walk through the bush from Legon campus all the way to Achimota here to
To
come
go
out
do
at the
Try Your
back
Luck.
of the police station because there was a woman who had Try Your Luck and nobody used to frequent her place. So when we go there, we have time. Because Try Your Luck, you have to do.
You have to
plenty
do,
people
yeah.
We'd walk through the bush, thorns, everything, just to go and Try Your Luck. And for me, that was better than any Christmas present. That
Wow. But I don't think
But
that
it's all lost.
I don't
Nobody-
think that exists
no,
now.
exactly.
Nobody's interested in trying
You
your
didn't
luck.
preserve
What's the name of that?
You can
Milk
buy
bush.
balloons.
bush, exactly.
You
Oh,
can
my
buy
days.
balloons anytime, any day. Why do you want to go
But
struggle
you see,
together? But it made it fun.
Yeah, but overseas, the things that they still enjoy Christmas with are not special, right? They've just made them special.
True.
Well, we're talking about this. Let's just jump into our song of the day. Let's start off with some music. We'll be right back.
Jiggy, no, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Ulama, I dare on my tento. I don't dare you tired. Make we do like extra cool. Oh, and we go back to the time when this love is share better. You know I love you, but I'm always on the road. Can't lie, you put me in the mood, and I know you want that too. And I carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me car. I don't make my spine loose. I don't make my spine loose. I don't carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me car. I know I like. So don't see me anyhow, mama. So don't see me anyhow, my darling. I know it's not easy to understand me. You know I love you, but I'm always on the road. Can't lie, you put me in the mood, and I know you want that too. And I carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me car. I don't make my spine loose. I don't make my spine loose. I don't carry shoulder down for you, Joe. My be me car. One more life.
Surprising that this song, Young John, Extra Cool, probably not getting the radio airplay or the TV airplay, but guess what? It's actually doing #1 on Apple Music right here in Ghana. Well, that takes us back to our digital music consumption. and it's amazing miracles that it's doing for a lot of artists, if you ask me. Well, so, I mean, later on, we probably look at what traditional media is playing as to what people are also consuming. I mean, that's like another thing.
Yeah.
That's
two different worlds.
Yeah.
Two very different worlds. You know, has traditional media lost the power it used to have in dictating what song was supposed to be #1? If you ask me, I don't know, but it's worth discussing. I think we should get Ricky as our guest on that conversation.
Yeah, perfect person.
Yeah.
Ricky? Oh, which one does he work for? Traditional media?
No, he's in the middle.
He's in the middle.
He's in the middle.
Traditional media.
You can bash him twice.
Well, yes. One of these days we should get our production team, in there.
To come and have a
Yes,
conversation.
because the banter that happens after the show, I tell you what, if you are in the studio, you probably have even more excitement listening to the banter than the main conversations that we
You have to get fire service ready, because if Steve is able to make it on the show, then we are in trouble.
Anything is possible.
Nah, we are in trouble.
Possible.
We are in trouble. So anyway, let's get the song trivia on the screens now and check out how the song got to #1 on Apple Music. So Extra Cool, produced by or sung but performed by Young John, yet to find out, was released on September 23rd. Now it's off Young John's Love Is Not Enough Volume 2 EP. The song is currently at #1 position on Apple Music Top 100 in Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. Wow. Interesting. Triple treat. Now, also at #4 on Apple Music Top 100 in Gambia and Liberia, respectively. Then on YouTube, the video of the song has gathered about 1.7 million views, and also within just a period of about 3 weeks. Then the video is currently at #5 on YouTube trends in Nigeria. This is a miracle song, if you ask me.
Maybe it's because he looks like Ashake.
Yeah, well, maybe it will surprise
that's
you. Yes,
contributing to
in the
it.
thumbnails that pop up, you might think it's
People
him.
are just clicking it.
Clicking and checking out. Extra Cool has amassed about 2.9 million streams with Spotify, making it his third most streamed song, and then on Audiomack, the song has also gathered about 8.5 million streams.
Wow.
Yeah, there's something about this, if you ask me. There's something about it. Maybe the thumbnails he's using on YouTube is helping. Or even
But the video is also not bad. It's very
it's not.
It's not bad.
It's
at
not.
all.
world class.
That's even what is giving me the Ashake feel. You know, his color combination, the hair, and the way he's going about his moves. You know, Ashake is always fond of, you know, combining strange colors, looking strange as well with his what do they call that thing? The
The grill.
Like, it's scary sometimes, guys. Can somebody tell him that sometimes it's scary?
Oh, it's on purpose.
You know when he did the song with what's it called? My
Fireboy.
very beautiful young talent, Fireboy, and he had his. I'm like, guy, this is scary. It's not
He did
nice.
it on purpose, and he had his face facing
You
the
know,
camera.
they never see me
coming.
Ja,
Da,
ja,
da,
ja,
da,
ja. And I'm like, hey guy, you're scaring me, you know. But he has a track with Tiwa Savage. Mr. Money has, well, I don't know if Mr. Money was in Ghana, whether we will not start complaining about the one-way style that he's got, you know. Every time I hear an Ashake song, it's almost like feels the same. It's the same kind of thing. And I heard a bit of what he has with Tiwa Savage this morning. And I'm like, okay, this is the same Ashake we know. If it was in Ghana, maybe that would have been our problem, because that's what we always complain about. Oh, can you use the same kakra, do something different, you know? But I guess his people love him like that. The last time Beats Menace was telling us that he's actually taking from what Nigerians call Fuji music and is making it contemporary. So I guess it's something different.
And you know, there's a lot of Nigerians. Nigeria is big, so he can keep doing the same kind of music, and the audience is big enough to keep soaking it up. Here we are small, so when we hear you do the same thing twice, 3 times,
we're bored already.
Change inside.
I think Ghana should just
sell ourselves to Nigeria.
No, we should take Togo. Let's talk to them. And then just buy it.
No. Let's keep Togo, skip Benin, and go and take Nigeria.
If we're able to buy, if Akufo-Addo is able to buy Togo and Benin, and we buy small of Burkina Faso.
How many Togolese artists?
How much? You buy just the trouser.
We're not buying the artists. No, I'm just saying that we'll buy their land.
So that's what will happen. We want creative people so that we can.
So that we expand Ghana small. Then we you see already we won a certain case against Cote d'Ivoire with oil.
Oh, the oil
yes.
stuff.
They shouldn't pay. They should give us land.
Yeah, they can take the sea.
Why don't you want us to go to Cote d'Ivoire rather? Because in recent times we've been hearing that they are big on culture, they are big on
and Ivorian women, they do the dancing with the waist thing.
But you see, Ivory Coast, we don't have to buy the middle and the north too. It's the down, no?
That's where the dancers are.
So you see, Ghana will now be. You see, can you now draw Ghana in your mind?
No, we give that one to
lower Ivory Coast. Then we shoot up to Ghana, the north. Then we go into Burkina Faso small.
You won't be able to draw it properly. We've
draw and come down to the
It looks like this.
It's settled. No, it's settled that Bulldog knows how to draw. So he can give that one to draw.
We'll contract Bulldogs to draw it for us. But anyway, so that is our song of the day this morning, as well as its trivia. But coming up next, let's go into our starter pack. Just as we did justice to yesterday, we will do justice to today.
Stacking up my money, no time for your dish. Money kulapo, I don't care for your hate. Me no fighting. Throwing down drums from bungalow down there. I did my penthouse, you can't even reach me. Me no frightened. It is not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Ole mumi bow down. To bambino farabale. Oboya ko lari mole. Okay. It's okay, let them see. Trouble no they pay me. Injaye on a daily. Okay. We go to okay. I just want to hear me. Look. Baby, it's your daddy. My grace, you define. I get it times 2. You dey eye me. Let me remind you. No, they try me. But To bury me, go my berry. Yeah. You got my attention now. What you gonna do? You the tension, but your legs are kung fu. But I cool it down, down. Cause me no fighting. It's not your fight, stand down. I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now. Only mumi bow down. To bambino farabale. Aboya ko lari mole. Okay.
Well, it is a name that always even just excites me anytime I see it. Adekunle Gold. I don't know whether the Gold is a real name or just a nickname just added on there. But this song is titled Okay. It's not your fight to stand down. I'm not the one. Calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me. Why bother? Don't have your time now. Wow, that's like shade. You know?
Too much shade.
The confidence is high.
These are lyrics that there's one artist in Ghana can use, and I know you're aware of it. I
Who's
don't
that
need to say his
artist?
name. I mean, when I just say it, it just comes into your mind.
So, touching on Adekunle Gold, okay. It's not your fight, stand down.
I know.
I'm not the one, calm down. You know I'm not your problem. You can't be me, why bother? Don't have your time now.
Yes, and
it's like
these
he's
are
washing
very-
his hands off somewhere.
Yes,
Peace of mind, shall we?
Yeah, I don't know if he's probably had any beef of any sort, but
these
this song
artists and
probably
how
inspired by something that has happened to him. But
Adekunle Gold and his wife Simi have been dragged a number of times. Especially his wife.
this is the guy who
yeah,
married
that's
Simi.
married to Simi. But I just love the fact that two creatives, are together. It's more like somebody is rubbing up. At a certain point, they said Simi used to write Adekunle songs, and they used to drag Adekunle that bad. Like everything was credited to Simi because Simi records, and she's the one who.
But that's his wife. What's wrong?
I don't even know.
Oh, people should go
They said she
away.
writes his song and he should be grateful to Simi, but for Simi he won't what.
Jay-Z helps Beyonce with music and vice versa.
It's because
and nobody's taking away from their credit.
No, it's because it's the other way. The way you say Jay-Z helps Beyonce.
That one
it's
is
okay.
acceptable.
The one is
the
woman
woman needs help.
I don't even understand. Charlie, I don't know, but he's a special talent, especially because he's got sickle cell. I listened to his recent album where he talked about how he survived the phase. He didn't even think that he'd be alive by now and all of that. So if anybody is talking him down, he has every right, to come hard at them and say, "Look, I'm not your problem. I also have my own problems."
Exactly. Well, and those are the lyrics that keep us motivated. Well, of course, sometimes you just want to just tell it plain point blank in people's faces, that say it as it is. And that was a professional conversation we're having yesterday, don't water it down, don't pamper them. If it's a hard conversation, let's have it. Yes, pepper them. Let's have a hard conversation. Afterwards, we can always smile and move on as friends.
See, every time I talk about pepper them, Ricky is bothered. And
I realize.
Yeah, I don't understand. He has a family member.
Well, let's just first, just for
them.
listeners and viewers to know who Ricky is.
Oh, you want to put his picture on the screen like he does?
We have Ricky's picture.
Do we have a yes?
But he's the one behind the scenes.
I think we can tweet it. If we all retweet, everybody will know.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you need to add. You don't know Shatawale is electrician. That is Ricky.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Shocking news.
Yeah, that's Ricky. That's electrician.
Shocking news. I like that. Anyway, we still have more to come. We are talking about the rise of the podcast industry, okay? And I'm very sure, if you are an internet person, if you are a netizen, if you are, you patronize all these platforms, Facebook, Twitter, AudioMax, Spotify, YouTube, and all these platforms. One way or the other, you've come across certain shows, programs, conversations, themes, and you've shared interests or you follow it, religiously. Well, all these are podcasts, and exactly, it's not always sitting back on, and watching television on average Netflixes and all your Prime, Amazon Primes, and sometimes you also want to listen. Listening has its different feeling because it drives imagination, if you ask me. Well, this morning we're talking about that heavily and as to the rise and how Ghanaians are finding sudden interest in this very, 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 how can I describe this area?
Niche.
Specialist,
yeah.
Yes, if you ask me, yes.
For me, some people like me, it's novel, I'm still trying to figure out. Like when we were having the meeting, I was like, they say, but it's all podcasts. I said, I'm sorry.
Well, but I am the one who gave Twitter the idea of doing Twitter Spaces.
Hey, Mr. Foley.
Oh.
You taking money for that?
Allow cash out.
You know what?
I said I gave
you are
Twitter
Elon
the
Musk.
idea of
Elon Musk.
I was just reminded.
Or Elon Musk not.
I was just reminded that I started Clubhouse where I don't even belong.
Oh, you don't know me, Cyril Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Come on Facebook that I started.
Oh, Charlie.
Let's just be here.
But so I know this might sound as it might sound like I'm lying, but I want to tell you the truth on this.
Nobody has said anything.
Facebook and Twitter, okay? I had the idea for Facebook back in
Your mother's womb. Let's go
back
there.
in 2001. I had the idea. I'll tell you where the idea came from.
But Cyril, make it back. So why
I'll
they
tell
laugh?
you where the idea came from. But I didn't have the know-how. You see, they are downplaying on.
Oh no.
You see, pull him down syndrome. They got a man pull him down
please.
syndrome.
This is the man behind Facebook. He actually sold the concept.
So let me tell you what happened. So I was in school in KNUS. It is a place called Gaza. Gaza is like the Snake Hostel. Okay. So and at the Snake Hostel
darling.
there was
Why?
there's a container
So
that
why?
we sit to buy food from, and then you can just watch the whole hostel. So I was eating bread and egg and yogurt. And then I'm
The
telling you
story
my
will
story.
proceed
No, I was eating bread and egg.
At this point, the story
fried.
will
By the time we get
egg.
to his laptop, the show will be
Oh,
over.
no, hold on. I was watching.
He's now eating bread.
Let me say. So I was eating bread and egg and then
yogurt.
drinking yogurt. Yes, fresh yogurt, the white one. And then I was watching the hostel.
Probiotic.
And the hostel has got 3 different blocks. Okay, and I saw like people in their rooms turn on lights. Some lights were off. You know that feeling like when you're watching. And I was asking myself if I could develop a way that people could just connect with each other without having to move. You know, and just see their faces, because I see only their faces on the balconies. And there was a lady sitting by me, a friend of mine, a girl, and I was telling her, and then I said, I just wish I had the means and the resources to create a certain platform where we could connect. And I let it go. That was Facebook. I'll tell you about how Twitter came about as well. Twitter
I'm sure
Spaces
the woman who was frying the
about.
egg stole the idea.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Oh God.
If I had only believed in
Thanks
myself,
to bread
I
and
would
egg
have
and
created.
yogurt.
I just want
Facebook.
to apologize to all our viewers.
But you see, this is how
who have
been forced
into
Ghanaians
this
don't
bottle
support
this early
and
morning.
believe in Ghanaians.
But you know when you're hungry,
I beg you, what's
when
unpacking?
you're hungry, you have a tendency to think and
Yeah.
overthink things.
No.
And when you get bread and egg and yogurt,
Then
you
the
see
brain
light.
starts overworking.
You see, how did this guy start Microsoft? What's his name? The Microsoft guy.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. It was in his garage.
I thought it was in his gate.
I'm sure if he was telling his story the same way, people won't laugh at him. You say, "Oh wow!"
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that I was eating bread and egg and drinking yogurt. People are here downplaying.
Our
my
dear
listen.
viewers,
I will tell you.
Please,
I will tell
we
you how
want
I
to
came
apologize
about
for
with
Jay
Twitter
Foley
Spaces idea.
and this morning's story.
I once told a friend of mine, a media personality,
More
I called
stories.
her. Yes, I called her and I said that, you know what? Let's have an open conversation.
Are we
on
doing
Twitter.
podcasts? Is he doing podcasts?
But you know, once I'm unpacking, I'll tell you the details of the Twitter story.
You go back to that story.
Yeah, there's more.
I thought you were done.
I was also the originator
Hey!
of events that were tagged along dates in this country. And I'll tell you more. I've done all, but let's talk about yours first. Unpacking, what's next, please?
I shock.
That's what is next?
Hey.
I'll tell you.
Jay Foley.
But if you do it and nobody will blow your horn for you, blow your thing.
And blow, because this one the.
But this is the third horn you've picked. Which one will you blow?
Or if you
You
don't know,
put you alone
I'm
3
telling
horns.
you.
Which one go blow? Blow one, let's hear.
I'm telling you. I'll tell you about the dates. In this country, you know, at a point in time, we're doing 10, 10, 10, 9, 8, 2. I lie?
So that's 21, 31.
No. I organized an event, and this idea came up to me. It was on the 9th of August, 2009. 8th of August, 2009. So we partnered YFM, Foresight TV, and brought a party called the 080809. It was the biggest thing Boomerang Nightclub had ever seen in their entire life, trust me.
So who is
Ask
doing
the dancing.
after you brought it? What happened to it?
10,
I've not
10,
heard
10.
anybody do anything.
Then you didn't enter
Which-
those
which
parties.
one?
There were 10, 10, there was 10, 10, 10 parties, 11, 11.
Oh, but that one, he came with a year.
Yeah, exactly.
10, 10, 10, 10.
Don't worry. He's lying.
October.
But you see,
He's lying.
So
hey,
you see,
he said 19,
people
11,
got the idea. But I'm telling you, I said, was it a party? Ask the person
House of
telling
Folk-
you.
House of Folk is
the
what?
person who is
11,
asking
11.
you the question in
11,
your
11.
ears, no. The person who is telling you in your ears, now ask him that it wasn't a party. I said party. You see,
They
but
said it
anyway,
wasn't a party.
I'll keep telling you about the things I've done. I've done more things.
Hey.
Did you know?
Hey.
But unpacking is up next.
Thank you.
We need a segment for Jay Foley called Did You Know?
Give me your hand and shoulder. Cause you should get up. Blessings for your head up.
What up, my peoples of Favorite Boy Crayon? This is me, this is you, and this is the culture. Which scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Wow, wow, wow. Gang. Ha.
For your head up. Give me your hand and shoulder. But I know go get us. Better go look it. Give me your hand and shoulder. Cause you should get up. Blessings for your head up.
What up, my peoples of Favorite Boy Crayon? This is me, this is you, and this is the culture. Which scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Wow, wow, wow. Gang. Ha.
For your head up.
Yo, Ghana, what's up? It's your boys Zlatan Ipele Kapai Jemima Chapako. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. You scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Peace out.
Them they try stop me, they say no papa since I was born.
Away from the ancestor J. Foley, let's do some unpacking. My name is Miss G, and I want to tell you that Amrado is the most strategic rapper I've seen in this country. Now, he talks about the cover of his album, talks about why he put certain people on in this conversation with Lenny.
For your cover art, the album cover art, right?
Yeah.
And the name, I think is, to me, I think is a conflict.
Yes.
Right? Because then you're talking about God is never asleep. And then we see swords, which to me suggests ready for war or something in relation to
in
that.
literature, everything is allowed.
Truly, but what went into the ideation of your cover art?
Okay, cool. So this is the contrast. I was speaking about God, kneeling before God, but then with the fact that I'm kneeling to God, I feel like in the physical realm too, I need protection. And that is why even when Jesus Christ came, he had his father, God, who was in heavens, but then Peter was working with Jesus and was holding a knife. Nobody knew.
Right.
So, in as much as you need the spiritual protection, you also need the physical protection.
That's some depth.
Yes, of course. So both, like inside out, I'm seeking for God's protection and grace, but then when it comes to the physical world, I have my team behind me holding swords, and I have people who are at my back.
Okay.
So that's it.
You've had all of these really great features. How did these come about? And in choosing each feature for each song, what thought process went into that? Because you know that, okay, you are the only one who can tell who will fit on which song.
Yes.
So I just want to know.
Yeah, in some instances, it's not all about an artist who has the hype or who is in the trends. In my case, I normally think about an artist who can share my story, who can actually help me send the message across. So linking up with Efia, I had a purpose, and that was to tap into that core female following of hers. And then with Eno Baroni, it was a spice. You know, she's actually the most dominant female rapper in the country and in Africa to me.
Yes,
so
she is.
I wanted those female people who also love rap, and with the international people, someone like Simba, who is actually doing well in the UK. I wanted to start my journey heading to the international world. So it was just right. Last made, new talent, very dope, vibrant, and then the tidy people love me. So I wanted to do one with their own. So.
In the last few months, Amrado has featured popular or hot artists. Talk about Last May, talk about Black Sheriff. There's also a strategy to that. He tells Lenny more.
Has the album done well based on your features? Do you think that also considering your features, it has further pushed?
Yes.
How well?
You see, Grace is an example, and then the one with Famille, that's the one that people are actually jumping on now.
The Nyame Dada.
Yes, so it's so true. People that we feature have influence on the songs, and that is why I feature people. Let's use Abotra as an example. People love Blacko at that moment. They wanted to hear something from me, and I was lucky at that moment to have the chance to drop a song with him. So it's always right. Yeah, I believe in that.
Now that you mentioned Abutre, let's talk about Abutre. Because, I mean, in your beefs, though, we've had to hear that if it wasn't for Black Hole, you wouldn't have a big song, right? And truly, people don't exactly know for the Abutre song. People just assume, or if they don't know that it's for you, they assume it's for Black Hole, yes. Right? Yes. With that song and how big it's gotten, which of your songs now, from the list of songs that you have, would you say would do as well as Abutre has done?
That's Grace.
Grace with Last Name.
Yes, Grace is getting there. Yes, it's almost hitting 1 million views on YouTube in almost 2 months. So
that's nice.
Yes, and then with
it's actually a really nice song.
Yes, it's a big song.
It's emotive, I think, because you listen to it exactly, and then
With what you said about Abutre, I don't think any artist would want to feature an artist and not expect the artist to own the song as well. Because at the end of the day, it's a collaboration.
Yes.
And then we are in an era where singers actually want to like give artists or rappers hit songs. Gone are the days where you wanted to feature Sarkodie or Chame Kwame for a verse and then get a hit song, but now it's changing. This era belongs to the singers, in quote, and then as a rapper you need a singer's voice so that when you go on stage we can even call you for shows and then people can sing to it. I featured Black Hole to get a chorus. I'm a rapper, I can't do it. You get it? So if people feel like it's a song, yes, of course, he sang it and then it's our song, so no problem. It's on my channels and everybody know that it's my song.
Well, guess who says the tag former artist is nothing to hurt anyone? Amrado believes that once you go dormant, you might be called a former artist, and he doesn't have a problem with that.
You're in a setting where someone hasn't released a song in about 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and then you mention the person's name and they're like, who is that? Is the person still making music? Nawe or your artist? Is this person an artist? Is this person still relevant?
The moment you sign up to be let me put it this way. The moment you sign up to work in a public space, you have to be ready for everything or anything. Me, for instance, when I was doing Yet and Sen, people used to say I'm a newscaster, I'm not a rapper. I accepted it because that was my job, and you don't expect everyone to say good stuff about you. So with what you just said about being a retired artist or whatever, that's the person's opinion. So to prove them wrong, you have to come back and drop a song, do something, or tell them that I'm a retired artist because I'm doing this business, I'm in this venture, and then I expect you to say whatever you want, but not get at me. If I was in that, in quote, former artist position, I wouldn't be hurt because maybe there 10 years crying, I'm in rapping and I'm up to something. The person might not know.
And you're still eating.
Of course, I'm eating. And the person that said I'm a former artist, I don't go to that person for money or food. So I won't get hurt.
Great. I like that.
Now, away from Amrado, let's talk Black Panther. And I know you know that Chadwick Boseman died in 2020, but his wife has been recounting situations that led to his demise.
He was an artist. He was an artist, and he was a leader, and he was a king. And, you know, and that I got to be by his side for that he chose me to be by his side for that is just, you know, it's the greatest blessing. I met this person who was this wonderful man, and he then ended up being a global superstar. Yeah. And really, after Black Panther came out, it did kind of happen overnight.
Black Panther would forever change Chadwick Boseman's life. It catapulted him to a different stratosphere of fame. The film earned more than $1 billion worldwide, with Chadwick becoming the first black superhero in the Marvel Universe. I mean, one of the best things I remember when Black Panther was coming out, there was a little boy who was standing in front of his television, and it meant he could be Black Panther.
Yeah, and I'm so proud, too, that this story gets to continue. Yeah. That these little 8-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 75-year-olds, you know, will continue to be inspired by this story.
We knew that we had something special that we wanted to give the world, that we could be full human beings in the roles that we were playing.
I know that when people fall in love with that character, they're falling in love with Chad.
Yeah. But in 2020, after a hard-fought and private 4-year battle with colon cancer, the 43-year-old actor passed away. Now, the news both shocked and devastated fans around the world, and it devastated his family, including the love of his life, his widow, Simone Bozeman.
Some days I'm doing worse than I'm really willing to acknowledge, and other days I'm doing better than I feel comfortable admitting.
Right.
You know, the grief really, it moves in, it sits on your shoulder, and it says, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So you're just, you know, getting used to carrying the weight of all of it.
Yeah.
Simone, you're with me every day. I have to acknowledge you right now. Love you.
It has been the most challenging 2 years I've ever had in my life.
When you decided not to share what was happening, were you scared somebody was going to dig and find out that he was much iller than people thought?
It was COVID, when things were really starting to spiral. And that meant that everybody was in their house. And there was no pressure for anybody to go outside. It seemed like, is this a crazy coincidence that we get to actually be inside? We get to be here with family, with, you know, together. And everybody in the world is also experiencing this togetherness in the midst of this awful, scary, unpredictable time. We kept that circle real. Our circle was basically a dot.
That support was a needed crutch. What does it mean to you when you hear people saying Wakanda forever?
You know, yes, the representation, but really it's the humanity. It's the complexity. It's the richness that has become this catalyst for community. And, you know, it really was the most powerful piece of work that Chad, you know, was able to, that he was able to lay the foundation for that is an immense point of pride.
It would be Simone who would accept the Golden Globe on her late husband's behalf for his role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
I ain't like you, Color. I got talent. Me and this we's tight.
He would say something beautiful, something inspiring, something that would amplify that little voice inside of all of us that tells you you can, that tells you to keep going, that calls you back to what you are meant to be doing at this moment in history.
I think that the hardest thing was wondering if he was going to have enough time to do all the work that he wanted to do, because he was very clear on what he needed to do.
Howard University was his beloved alma mater, where they recently reestablished their College of Fine Arts program, naming it in his honor.
We have 4 scholars. One of them graduated this past year and, you know, was very proud to be the first graduating Bozeman Scholar of the first graduating class of the Chadwick Boseman College of Fine Arts.
One of the scholars is junior acting major Sean Smith.
Chadwick Boseman's legacy has paved the way for me. He showed that you weren't just limited to these basic roles. You could do whatever you want.
And education was a huge, important part of Chadwick's legacy.
Taking this mantle, and we are carrying it to as many voices as we can. I can't believe that I was so lucky. I can't believe that I got to love this person, and I also got them to love me too.
And definitely, Chadwick is a huge hero for everyone who enjoyed the movie Black Panther. Now, the second premiered over the weekend in Nigeria. I know that this week it will premiere in our cinemas here. But there's something I want you to see. This is no go do past yourself. So somebody wanted to pay, you know, a huge homage to Chadwick. And this is what happened when he wore the costume. This is a guy from Big Brother Nigeria called Hemis, and he wore a costume with the picture of Chadwick. And here the designer pronounced the name and talk about him, telling you that she knows next to nothing about the hero. Okay, so we are trying to get the audio of that, but once I go to the guys, so this is Black Panther premiering in Nigeria over the weekend. I know that some of our personalities in Ghana have had the opportunity to see it. I was actually called to see it, but the day I was on air, so I couldn't go see it in the cinema. But I know some personalities here in Ghana have seen it, and the conversation will continue this weekend because it's going to be in our cinemas. Now, look at the inscription. First, they get the inscription wrong. But he has his picture. So this is he trying to pay homage. And that's Hermes from Big Brother, the Level Up season that just ended. And I just want you to hear how the designer talks about Chadwick, how she mentions his name and talked about, how he, that's a designer's video on the screen. Just her voice is what we need to hear because she actually was dressing him up for the premiere. Okay, so I think we can hear the audio.
Okay, so Hermes is paying tribute to Chad Boswick, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, R.I.P. Chad Boswick. Yeah. We all need to realize that Wakanda can never be the same without Chad Boswick. Without Chad Boswick, Wakanda can never, ever be the same. Okay, so Hermes is paying tribute to Chad Boswick, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, R.I.P. Chad Boswick.
This is what they say, no go do pass yourself for Chad Boswick. Which one is Chad Boswick? Maybe it's a Nigerian Chadwick that is called Chad Boswick because I don't know of any Chad Boswick. Guys, you know of Chad Boswick?
Maybe my mechanic, I don't know his Christian name. I don't know. No, I mean Charlie White. Come on. You see, this is why cloud chasing. Even if you're going to chase the cloud, be prepared. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. This is a piss poor performance because it's a global icon. And you just at the fashion thing they do, crowd. What if the Batman in cape? What did they wear?
No, I think that, I think most of the people who attended the premiere tried to depict some of the characters,
but
in the movie.
They are doing it because they are attending the premiere, not because they get it. That person, whoever, everybody in that room, they are not fans of Marvel.
This is what Shatawale sang about.
Oh, man. I go leave the set.
Hi.
What has it got to do with what we are talking about? Hi. You come like Kakai.
Listen, this is the biggest. This is one of the biggest franchises on the planet.
Kakai? No, not this one.
Which one?
Not the one we just watched.
Not the Chad Boswick.
Not Chad Boswick.
Chad Boswick is. I mean, you are not a Marvel fan. You are not a Black Panther fan. You're obviously not a Chadwick Boseman fan. So why, if they invited you to the thing, just dress and go.
This is Kakai.
And they spelt it wrong. And he attended the event like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Good gracious.
And the designer confidently is pronouncing the name.
Chad Boswick.
Charlie.
They're more focused on the Instagram live than making sure what they are putting on the internet is accurate.
Exactly what the comments beneath the post says that, look, he's just interested in the clout. Perhaps he doesn't even know anything about Chadwick.
Obviously.
That's why he wouldn't even be able to correct, the designer and say, that's not the name.
Hi. Chad Boswick.
Hi.
Anyway, it brings me to the end of unpacking, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Miss G, and giving us all that story there. But anyway, Chad Boswick on the side. Let's move on to some sports stories. Cyril, what's cooking on there?
Chad Boswick.
I tell you.
Oh, man. Well, Jerome Boateng is in a mess of sorts. Yeah. I mean, marriage matters and all that, but we'll get into that. And then we're also going to look at so there's actually like a 50-plus squad that Otuado has listed, a prospective squad, of which we're going to take out our 22 most likely. So I have a special guest who I'll be talking to see how we can break down the lineup and see what exactly we might be looking into. I mean, this is somebody who's a sports journalist from Ghana Web, so they have insights that would definitely bounce off well.
Okay, all right. So just sit back, relax. Sports Direct coming up next.
That your beautiful body be all for me.
Send me pa me condom. I better roll.
Hi, hello. This is your boy Chris Water from R2BZ AMG Business CEO. This is me, this is you, and this is the culture. What a time to be alive, AMG Business.
You too much or you okay? Get your body too bad, but you think it.
If you say my life no good, I dey like I'm so. Charlie, mind your business.
Hi people, what's good? It's Dope Nation in the building.
One time, Charlie. Yeah, man. This is me.
This is you.
And this is the culture. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. So you know what? Just rescan your TVs to watch our music video on 3 Music TV. It's Dope Nation.
Can you know where we from? Can you know where we from? Yeah. Negative energy stay away. We know the thief only hustle for bread. What are they do? Carolina, I been to follow you for our dinner. Will you be my lover? Will you be my lover?
Yo, what's good, guys? I'm Larusso. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. Rescan your TV to watch my music videos right here on 3 Music TV.
When you see me, you they shine like that. Why you they do like that? Your friends just they like.
Oh my ego now for you.
Oh my ego for you.
Oh my rapper now for you.
Oh my rapper for you.
Hi, this is Teddy. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. You scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV.
Oh my ego now for you. Oh my rapper now for you.
Yo, be a dog, so why you kidding? I go admit if I be wrong. Everybody get opinion about who go live with their decision. Redemption Valley where we living. Still got a hunger.
Hi, my people. This is Kwesi Arthur. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. Rescan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV now. Let's go. Love.
Shoot share my one, no be promise. For a bad bitch. Same hairstyle, I can promise. I don't want it on face.
You light up my day. And when she tell me my love, is you love, baby. She don't want the Gucci bag or the Fendi. Yeah, she give me butterfly.
Hey, my people, what's good? It's your boy Magix. This is me. This is you. This is Culture. Big congratulations to 3 Music TV for launching Yesurski. Love.
Ooh, love. Oh, your love is crazy, girl. Your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl. You amaze me.
Welcome back to Culture Daily. It's your boy C-Real bringing you the sports direct. Now, straight off of Chad Boswick, we're into the world of sports where there seems to be even more drama from the man Jerome Boateng. Now, those of you who follow his career quite closely will know that he's had some legal trouble when it comes to the domestic situation between him and his late ex-wife. Well, he's been in the mix with the whole issue of assault, where they were on a cruise and he ended up throwing an ice cooler at his then girlfriend. Now, the whole issue dwindled on and then went to court where he was actually fined a sum of 1.8 million euro. But the sum was reduced when his earnings reduced as well. That was not the beginning or the end of his issues because things started degenerating from there to the point where he had to have his girl on NDA. Shortly after signing the NDA, she took her own life. Now, the NDA is a non-disclosure agreement that you give to somebody that you are in engagement with, whether it's business, whether it's personal, for them to not disclose certain facts about your interaction. And it's very weird that you are in a relationship with a woman and you give her a document to sign saying that she can't disclose to anybody, not even friends, not even family, not even the general public, that you are in a relationship with her. And apparently his girlfriend didn't take it lightly and she ended up taking her own life, unfortunately. Now, this is something that has dragged on over and over, and we've had interviews from the girl's parents speaking on the issue about how she had a mental struggle after signing that NDA and how she even signed the NDA under pressure and without her own conviction. Now, the court quote, and I quote, "To the court's conviction, the accused threw a cooler bag in the direction of the co-accuser, causing the pain during an argument on a holiday visit to the Caribbean. In further course of this evening, the accused caused an eye injury to the accuser during a physical altercation and caused further injuries. In these instances, the co-accuser was also insulted." Now, that's on the domestic abuse front. Now, Katharina was alleged to have killed herself just weeks after signing the agreement, which prompted an investigation into her death by the German officials. Jerome Boateng now plays for French League One side Lyon after leaving Bayern Munich 2 seasons ago. Now, the issue here is that after you already have allegations of domestic abuse, violence, a scar on her eye, throwing things at her, been to court, fined and all that, why would you put a lady that you are involved with through the mental stress of having to sign an NDA? For me, I don't really understand the dynamics. But unfortunately, we will never hear both sides of the story, as this is what led to her breakdown and later suicide. Now, this is quite unfortunate to have, and we hope that the court proceedings do open up more on the facts for us to have a better understanding of exactly how everything went down around Jerome Boateng and his ex-wife. Now, moving on to my next story. The Black Stars are actually lining up to prepare for Qatar 2022. We've been talking about it for the last few weeks. You know the World Cup is a big deal. Now, the coach, Otto Addo, has sent out a prospective list of 50-plus players from which the 22-man squad will be called. The 26-man squad will be called, taking into account our reserves. Now, the issue here is that there is speculation. We have goalkeepers, about 5 goalkeepers. We have about 16 defenders. We have about 12 midfielders. We have about 12 wingers. And we have about 6 strikers. Now, this is the mixed bag that Otto Addo is going to pick out of. Now, we have names there like Thomas Partey, Jordan Ayew, Inaki Williams, Joseph Walcott, and many more. They are favorites. Andre Ayew is also there. Joseph Paintsel is there. Kudus is there. But the issue is, what is going to determine the call-up? How are we so sure that these big names are the ones going to make it? Is it going to be about popularity or not? Now, Joel from Ghana Web is on the line, and I'm definitely going to take his keen insights, as he's also a sporting journalist and a professional in the game. I want his understanding on what he presumes would be the call-up dynamics, why certain people would be called up and why others wouldn't. So if we can have Joel here with us on the line, then we can get into it. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning.
Welcome to Sport Direct. How are you doing this morning?
I can't complain much.
Solid. So I take it you've seen the 50-plus list that Otto Addo has put out for the prospective call-up. What's your first reactions on that?
55. For the starters, we need to put it on record that the 55-man provisional list, I know that majority of Ghanaians are disappointed that if we are going to use 26 players for Qatar, and then we are supposed to name our 26 by 14th of this month, then why are we in a rush to name 55? Because we don't have time. The coach don't have time to assess all of them.
Yeah.
We are naming 55 because we know that this World Cup is special. Every World Cup has been played in June, July. But this time around, we are playing it in November, December. So FIFA puts out a statement to the member associations that you bring your 55, and the 55, we FIFA, we are not going to publish it, so that if there is an injury to any player and you want to make a change before the start of the tournament, you cannot go outside this 55-man list to call any other player. So the 55 is for FIFA to do their marketing and everything, so that if you have a player who is in camp and is injured, you can call someone else from that 55 squad. But I think that if we look at the squad in general, 55, I think there are only 2 players that I think that should have been in the squad. Aside that, I think we are all good.
Okay. Now, looking at the 55, if the production can please put the screen back up for me so that we can have a look at that. Looking at the 55, what are your favorites? I mean, there are definitely some linchpins in there that are critical for the game, regardless whatever the dynamics for the call-up will be. There are certain names there that are inevitable. I want you to walk us through who you think those are. Maybe a few of them, maybe in each dynamic of the game. So for the defenders, who do you think are indispensable? For the strikers, for the goalkeepers, and all that. If production can please put the list up again for us to have a look there.
So if we go through the squad from every department, I think that goalkeepers, we have 5. You have Walcott, we have Richard Ofori, Atizigi, Ibrahim Danlad, and then Nordin Abdul Manaf. Straightforward, you know that the first 2 goalkeepers will be fighting for the first spot, and then the second will be Jojo Walcott, who has been our number 1 since he made his debut in September last year. And then we also look at Richard Ofori. Richard Ofori, before his injury, was the number 1 goalkeeper for Black Stars, was imposed in the 2017 AFCON 2019. So Richard Ofori will also be in there. They will be my top 2 pick for Qatar. Then we will need an extra one to back these 2 up. And then there are genuine arguments for Ibrahim Danlad. Danlad is the under 20 goalkeeper, under 23 local Black Stars. So for us to have a proper progression, I think that getting Danlad in there will be good. And also, if you look at a goalkeeper like Nordin Abdul Manaf, also very good with his distributions, and then he's good at penalty shooters. We saw it in the Kiran Cup in Japan, in the 3rd and 4th place game against Chile. And we, Ghana, we know our problem, that over the years it has been penalty shooter. So the 2019 AFCON, we were eliminated on penalties. 2010 FIFA World Cup, we were eliminated on penalties. So between Danlad Ibrahim and then Nordin Abdul Manaf, I think that considering current form and their age, I will opt for Nordin Abdul Manaf. So my top 3 goalkeepers will be Danlad, Manaf, Richard Ofori, and then Jojo Walcott. If we go to the central defenders, I think that this is one of the tournaments that we are going that our strongest players are in our defense. So I look at someone like Dennis Odoi, you have to be in Qatar, Tariq Lamptey. We look at Gideon Mensah, Alexander Djiku, Mohamed Salisu, and also Daniel Amate, Joseph Edu. And then if we are supposed to bring extra players, if we are supposed to select 9 defenders, I think that Ali Dusedu will be making a good case for himself, because he is one of the few defenders we have who can play across all the back line. He can play as a right back, center back, and then as a left back. So I think that that gives him a little edge over the likes of Stefan Ambrosius, Kasim Adams, and then Abdul Mumin. So these will be my defenders. When we go to the midfield, I think that the midfield is very likely that we'll be taking 6 players to Qatar. So if we take 6 players, and then it is also good to note that the midfielders, they included Joseph Pinto in there together with Daniel Efriye-Bane. That I think it was a mistake. So the midfielders will have to be Thomas Partey, Idris Baba. We have Mubarak Wakasu. It's looking like Wakasu will be on a trip to Qatar. And then Daniel Kofitre, Mohamed Kudus, Andre Ayew is our captain. Andre has been the most efficient Black Star players in the last 2 years. So we can't say we are going to the World Cup without
There's
Andre.
controversy around that, you are aware.
Yeah, but I know that there are controversies, but this, what I'm saying is a fact. You might not like Andre. You might not like how
But the stats, do the stats support your claim?
Yes, when he's our all-time AFCON top scorer, when it's tough, when we need somebody to step up, it is Andre. My only problem is the minutes he gets and where he plays. If you play Andre in the midfield, I think that we are not going to get his impact.
Okay.
Because he doesn't have the energy to run. Put Andre up front, and then let's see how it is.
Okay.
There is one player that I think that he is performing very well, but might not make the trip to Qatar, which is Majid Ashmeru. It is also good to note that Otuado, since he came, there are certain players that he has worked with, starting from the Nigeria game.
Yeah.
So it is likely that 90% of these players will make it to Qatar. Majid Ashmeru is yet to really play under Otuado, and that might work against him.
Okay. To move us away,
I think that
move us away from the technical elements of the squad, right? Now we always have brand appeal. We always have the supporters and the fans, and most people who watch the game watch it on face value, just want to hear the scoreline and enjoy a good game. Now we have marketable characters like Salisu, Schlupp, Inaki, Jojo, and co. Now, what do you think about these people when it comes to the brand of Black Stars, the Star Boys? You know, when we had Kevin Prince, Boateng and co, that squad, most of the audience that were in love with the Black Stars back then were not even on technical merit. We just loved to see these people do their thing on the pitch, whether for their sense of fashion or for their sense of style or even for the charisma they have. Who do you think are the ones in the current list that have that kind of resonance with the audience, that need to be there for that kind of emotional support? Because look, Kurt said it best. We're trying to bring back the love, right? And the World Cup is a big platform for doing that. And we can go on all technical guns, but we can actually try and do something that goes beyond that. Now, let's have the insert for Salisu and the other gentlemen that I mentioned to see exactly where they fit in when it comes to the brand appeal for the Black Stars. So there we have Salisu. You can see why he's fashionable. You can see why people would love him off the pitch. Now, that's drip all the way from top to bottom. I mean, this is something that we want to see on and off the pitch. And looking at the kind of game we're going to play and the kind of audience we're going to have in Qatar, there's more than what's happening on the pitch. And Salisu is definitely one of the people to look out for when it comes to the fashion sense, somebody who's a fashion icon off the pitch. Now, we can move on from that. We can move on from that to my man Kofi Tria. You can see cool, calm, collected, but still full of drip. The drip dear, you don't turn it off. And this is what we want to see. I'm getting flashbacks of the whole Kevin Prince Boateng vibe and how the ladies in Accra lost their minds come that World Cup. Maybe they'll lose their minds once again, because this is definitely a cool dude. And we are looking to bring this kind of vibe onto the Black Stars brand, because we're talking brand engagement. We have the likes of MTN bringing on board money and all that. And we need brands that we can resonate with. Now, Schlupp, my man himself there on the beach having a chill time. Now, this is another laid-back brother, but definitely something we want to see on the Black Stars roster. Not just for the physical performance and the statistics of what their gameplay is, but thinking bigger than on pitch, thinking off pitch as well, the kind of incorporations that we can have as a brand for the Black Stars. Now, Inaki Williams coming off last on my list. Oh, we have Schlupp back there. So Inaki Williams coming last on my list there. The cool brother, definitely somebody that we need to look out to when it comes to the brand development, the fashion sense, the style, and the whole exposure on the world front. This is somebody that's on the pitch and off the pitch, a very dangerous man in the sense of football. And you can see that the fan love goes across both terrains. Now, Jojo Wallacott being my last submission, the goalie my last by one submission, being the goalie of the moment, definitely has that vibe. We want somebody who is somebody calm, cool, and collected, but also efficient. But there is somebody that we can invest in as the Black Stars lineup. Now look at this shot where our own people are lining up, but Wallacott is teaching us a hard lesson. This is what we want to see when it comes to brand positioning for the World Cup. Now, Ransford Yeboah being our last entry, looks like a young cat, but definitely there to deliver both on and off the pitch. The fashion sense is clear, the style is clear, the exposure on the world front is clear. And if we're trying to grow the Black Stars to be something as an international giant that we want it to be, then we need to think about all these elements and bringing on board all these characters for more than just the on-pitch value. Now, we've spoken a lot about the World Cup in the past weeks, and today we're bringing you a perspective that many don't chart. We're talking about the fashion sense, the style, and the appeal of the players off the pitch. We had an in-depth analysis there from my call in, where he spoke about the dynamics of the players, the style, the statistics, the efficiency, and all that. But we know football doesn't end on the pitch. It ends off the pitch as well. Now, I want to know what Jay and Miss G think about our stylish Black Star entrance. I know both of them are definitely stylish people. So I want them to look at these characters and tell me what they think about their fashion sense and how they think that maybe we can engage them beyond the on-pitch activations, even if they do not make the call up for Qatar 2022. Jay, Miss G.
I hope you know you are right.
Like Drake, everything I say is correct.
Everything you say is correct.
Everything I say is correct.
I hope you know you are right.
Everything I say is correct.
Look, they have to try.
Yeah, they have to find. I mean, Charlie, me, when I saw what happened with Kevin Prince Boateng and women who didn't know anything about football wanted to go and watch football, I was like, okay, this thing is more than what's happening on the pitch. And we do have a lineup of very fine men, if I do say so myself, including me. So how we can capitalize on it, we definitely look. I'm thinking fashion brands. We have a lot of fashion brands in Ghana, right? Mm-hmm. What can we do? How can we use these icons to showcase Ghana? You know, I don't know if you think that it's something that we should focus on, because Niger has done it when they rolled out their jersey.
I want to ask you, were these designs orchestrated by the brands like the Nikes and the Pumas and co, or they actually engaged fashion designers to see how they could invite some of these designs, Nigerian designs, into their jerseys?
The Nigerian design, I think, if I'm wrong, I think it's Puma. But the thing they did is that they made, instead of just rolling out the jersey that here it is, this is the jersey, they actually curated it like a fashion experience where they brought in their stars, all the fine boys, had a shoot, did a casual shoot as well. So it wasn't just footballers in a kit standing there ready to play.
But doesn't it also show that some Nigerians had some hand in that? Because I didn't see that possible without the influence of either a Nigerian who works with the Puma office or a Nigerian who is a designer in there, or a Nigerian who wants to buy,
exactly my point. We have the designers, we have the access. Are we using it in the right way to cement these kind of relationships? That's exactly my question.
We don't want to lose the focus, the players to lose focus. You understand? Because if they look too handsome, the DMs will be full.
They won't focus on the game.
Focus. So all right. We'll take our iPhone and take pictures like that.
Are we settling on J. Foley's submission? I think my guys in the main studio have definitely taken something when I left, because they are both malfunctioning. But ladies and gentlemen, you're still watching Culture Daily. The name is Serial. It's been Sport Direct. I'll be here tomorrow bringing you the sports segment, the life and style of your favorite sporting personalities. Let me throw it back to Jay and Miss G in the studio. Let's continue with the show.
Well, yes, Serial, thank you very much on Sports Direct today. Back again tomorrow. You just make a follow-up. If you want to watch this again, jump on our social media, on our streams, on Facebook or on YouTube, and you'll definitely find it. If you're listening to us on Plus 89.9 FM, let me say good morning and welcome to the show as well. We still have more to talk about, the rise of the podcast industry. Very exciting. Well, coming up next, Lenny is ready to give us Trending Live.
What's up, my people? This is Boy Spice, and this is me, this is you, this is the culture. So scan your TV to keep watching my music videos on 3TV. God bless. Love you all.
Like the stars light up the sky when there's darkness in the
Yo, what's up, Ghana? My name is Twakane and Mukajo. We are MBT from East Africa. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. So make sure you scan your TV to watch our music videos on Free Music TV. Peace out.
For love, by the things you do make up for. Now look at that boy, monkey. He the flex on me, junkie. Shit.
Hi, what's up, my people? This is Wendy Shea. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. Rescan your TV and watch my videos on Free Music TV. Shea Gang.
I'm a survivor. I've been tripping.
what's up, y'all beautiful people? This your boy, Kofi Jamal. This is me, this is you, and this is the culture. Scan your TV today and watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. We out here. Keep it locked.
Problem in all the finish. We can try to enjoy. Bahala in all the finish. We can try to enjoy.
What's good, Ghana? This is Wonder Banton, the original vibe machine. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. We scan your TV to watch my videos on 3 Music TV. The original say so. Boom,
Nabazuda, Nabazuda, Nabataguda, Nabataguda, Nabashiguda.
Hey there, this is your boy Kirani Ayat. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. Rescan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Ampito!
You light up my day. And when she tell me my love is you love, baby. She don't want the Gucci bag or the Fendi. Yeah, she give me butterfly.
Hey my people, what's good? It's your boy Magix. This is me, this is you, this is Culture. Big congratulations to 3 Music TV for launching Yeserski. Love.
Your love is crazy, girl, your love is crazy. You amaze me, girl, you amaze me.
Oh my ego now for you.
Oh my ego for you.
Oh my rabba now for you.
Oh my rabba for you.
Hi, this is Teddy. This is me. This is you. This is the culture. You scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV.
Oh my ego now for you. Oh my rabba now for you. Oh Lord, I'm messy. Me who be me biate, massa.
Hello everyone, my name is Adina Fendi. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. Rescan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Stay tuned.
Feelings, I'm in my feelings. There is something about you, you bring me healing.
Hey guys, it's Inasu. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. Rescan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV.
When I see, oh your body be my medicine. I'm addicted with the way that you.
Yeah, I did back to this. No killing somebody. Say you go. If I spray you this man, I did back to this.
Hi guys, this is Bayani. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. You can scan your TV to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV. Yes.
Say you go. If I spray you this man, I take back to this
Make somebody call me Diana. Oh.
What's up, my people? It's your boy, Mr. Drew. This is me, this is you, this is the culture. Rescan your TVs to watch my music videos on 3 Music TV now. Let's go. Silly.
It's an amazing Tuesday morning, and I want to say thanks to Dressing GA for my really cute and pretty blazer. Now, moving on to my stories first from Twitter, I'm going to be talking about the layoffs that have happened in relation to Twitter staff in the past couple of days. And so Mr. Meister, who is Ghanaian but was the head of senior partnership at Twitter, he had this to say. His tweet, I'm quoting, it says, "It's been a year working at a place I never imagined I'd ever get to work. I'm glad that I could represent for Africa and I didn't let us down. My best career experience by far, and it was beautiful whilst it lasted. Much love to all the amazing tweets that made it worth. #OneTeam," and he had a love emoji there. Now, he's not the only person that has been left let off, there are so many other people who have been left off. Now, it will interest you to know that just a couple of days ago, they posted as a team, right? The Twitter Ghana team posted and, announced that this was the first time that they were going to be working together as a team, only for us to hear of their layoff just a few days later. Now, people also have been applauding him for the work he has done. But let's go look at what former CEO of Twitter had to say. Now, Jack also posted and wrote, "Folks at Twitter, past and present, are strong and resilient. They will always find a way no matter how difficult the moment. I realize many are angry with me. I own the responsibility for why everyone is in this situation. I grew the company size too quickly. I apologize for that." He also continued to say, "I am grateful for and love everyone who has ever worked on Twitter. I don't expect that to be mutual in this moment or ever, but I understand." Now, also, the new owner, the person who acquired Twitter, also had this to say. Now, if you don't know, Elon Musk is the new CEO and owner of Twitter. And he also posted and wrote, "Regarding Twitter's reduction in force, unfortunately, there's no choice when the company is losing over 4 million a day. Everyone hesitant was offered 3 months of severance, which is 50% more than legally required." So, yes, there is 3 months severance, which is actually a good thing. I mean, bad they've been laid off, but it's good that they've been given 3 months severance. They would have equally been laid off without any severance at all. Now, mind you that there is speculation that these people who work at Twitter are paid in dollars, okay? And so, yes, now there are some factions that are arguing that you have some time and also some money to actually just settle in and decide what your next move is or is going to be, right? There are so many comments and people bigging up Mr. Meister, to be specific, on his journey and his service to his people. Now, Mr. Meister had a good run at Twitter. Now, Darko Vibe said, "Mr. Meister, we love you, bro. Keep soaring higher." Mr. Meister responded to that and said, "Thanks, my Darko." And also, Sarkodie also said, "Big shout, Mr. Meister, my brother. You served your people. We appreciate it." Meister responded and said, "Thanks, landlord." And the comments go on and on and on. And so, yes, it's rather unfortunate that this had to happen. Now, I'll take this last one from Kafui Day that says, "Ghana's social media story cannot be told without mentioning you. You have served and represented the motherland well. Can't wait to see what the next chapter of your career will be. All the best." Now, we can only wish all of these people the very best of luck, because it's up, 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 up from here. I mean, they have done what they can do. They have served. They have dedicated themselves to duty, and that is what we love. One thing that we love that's going to happen is Sarkodie's Jams album. Now, yesterday, Sarkodie did announce, the release of his Jams album. It's going to be released on Friday. People have been looking forward to this. He, however, released a track list that I'm going to run you through. He has Labadi, which was already released, that is Sarkodie, and features King Promise. Now, on there as well, he has a song with so many people. There's Oxlade on there, Sina Soul, which I am really looking forward to, Cranium, Joe Boy, Black Sheriff, the list goes on, and Benson as well. The list goes on and on and on. The list goes on and on and on. And so, yes, we are looking forward to it. Now, what we are looking forward to as well, let me just break this because I have the honor to. Sarkodie will be here for the big conversation on Thursday, okay? So you look forward to that, because you know how we do it right here. He's going to, take us through the list. Now, I'm sure you have seen it on social. If you have not seen it, you have the pleasure of tuning in and also listening, okay? Now, one thing that happened here, I think 2 weeks ago, was an interview with Bulldog, which led to a spiral and a myriad of so many back and forth between Bulldog, now known as Bull God, and Shatta Wale. Now, Bulldog is suing Shatta Wale. Yes, he is not joking. If this seemed as a joke to Shatta Wale, who gets pissed off and then just goes on, an undiluted rant, Bulldog isn't having it. Now here is a writ of summons that is that was put out last night. It's actually suing Shatta Wale, and an action. I'm just going to read a few lines from there that says, an action having been commenced against you by the issue of this writ by the above named plaintiff, who is Lawrence Nana Isiama Hanson. You are hereby commanded that within 8 days after service of this writ, on your inclusive of the day of service, you do cause an appearance to be entered for you, Charles Ni Amamensa Jr., alias Shatta Wale, alias Bandana. So they did include even his former brand names and his recent brand names. However, there are some comments. From this. Kojo Sheldon posted it. It says, Bulldog is suing Shatta Wale. There is some comment from Kojo Sheldon that we are going to be reading now. The comments, which I'm waiting to see. Okay, so a lot of people had comments on this as well. Please. Okay, because I want to. All right, so NY also says, interesting times ahead. More sellouts, we day. Fingers crossed. And then FK Anane says, this is what we love to see. Elon Musk Gen. Who is that? He says, deserve. Shatta Wale is just a well of tree, saying to Wu when he started ranting on radio. And then this last one, Twitterland guy says, Shatta Wale Ankasa, like if he did US, like he did Jill. Well, let's see how this unfolds. It's going to be long. Yesterday, when I saw this suit, I said, this is going to be long. It's really going to drag. But yes, let's see how this ends. Whatever updates we have from the story, we are definitely going to bring it to you. Now, let me bring the story back home and into our studios with J and G. Ladies and gentlemen, hello.
Yes, we are here with you. No need to say hello, you are right. Well, we probably will telling our
Jay, is that your new line?
To say you are right.
Is that your new line now?
Well, it's a new line for when you partly miss the conversation, but you want to just understand what you're saying. Like, you just have to agree with whatever you're saying. But I'm very sure you want to touch on the resignations and the layoffs with Twitter.
Yes.
With Mr. Elon Musk, as Cyril will say, Mr. Astronaut.
Lenny,
yes, G.
Do you know that Jay Foley founded Twitter?
Yes, I heard him say so this morning. I didn't know that until this morning.
Yes.
But
he said he
I claim ownership to the idea.
He said he had the idea of Facebook after eating
and he did mention Facebook,
and drinking yogurt at Gaza.
I mean, you have to believe Jay. I'm sure maybe that was in the 1700s or something. Jay is an ancestor, so we'll keep it. We'll keep it at that.
You see, this is a PhD syndrome that Ghanaians have. You just don't want to accept the fact that it's possible for a Ghanaian to have come up with such a beautiful idea.
It is possible.
Yes.
It is Ghanaian.
Well, you don't say Ghanaian. Since I'm a poet and a voice artist, we can be allowed to change and alter
I'm sure you say you were the brain behind podcast.
I know, brain behind everything.
No.
But anyway, guys, with these layoffs, especially in these economic times, right? What are some suggestions that you have for, Jay, you've been in this for so long. If an employee comes to you and says, I don't think I want to work with you anymore. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you've been in, this space for so long. So what happens when someone just ups and comes to say, I'm laying you off? And then G as well, what will be that step that you'll take immediately something like this happens to you?
Well, thank you very much for your question. Let me say good morning to your listeners. No, so basically, it's also about identifying, putting value on yourself, you know, and it gives you a chance to now find other areas in your life that probably you haven't been able to, explore. Because sometimes you need to be pushed out of your comfort zone to be able to also challenge yourself. So for me, persons like my style who wants to work with Twitter, who, isn't with the company anymore because of new policies set by, the founder and the new CEO. For me, I think Meister is a damn, experienced. He's versatile, he's dynamic in so many spaces, especially in our new generation of
that's
things.
The same Meister who once upon a time was Mr. Easy's manager.
Yes.
So I don't think he has a problem at all. Financially, he's not.
They are taking how much home? 50 or more than 50%?
No, 3 months severance actually.
So
3 months. That's actually Must be good.
That's enough for you to, to cushion you, to put yourself together.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen always in almost every space. But
just like I mentioned.
You have to just look at your contract again with whoever is saying, I'm laying you off, and whether they deserve for your contract to lay you off.
Right.
And once they do, you have no choice than to carry your bag and baggage and say, thank you very much.
Right. Now, Sarkodie is coming into the studios on Thursday, which I'm very elated about. So what happened yesterday was when he put out his Jams album, he did mention that he wanted to have some sort of a collaboration with a radio station. And so, we came up, a few other media houses came up as well, but we are having them come in on Thursday, them in relation to Sarkodie and his team. So he'll be here to break down, the track list. Is going to be a hit album, let me tell you. Now, he's finding a way to break into the Nigerian market, if you ask me, because there are so many Nigerian artists.
I think he's done that already. With Rude Boy, with Oxlade, he has a jam with, who else does he have a jam with? I think Sarkodie is a big deal in that market already. Maybe he just feels that that's a more vibrant market with the numbers. So let's keep going there. Let's keep going there.
Yeah, he is definitely a big shot there already, but I'm saying that he's just tapping into, the whole narrative of how Nigerians are several steps ahead of us, right? And I think he's just making very good use of the situation at the moment.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, it's a good day for him.
It's a good. I'm looking forward. We're looking forward to it, especially because this is the second time he's going to have a collaboration with Oxlade, and I'm wondering, what did Oxlade do in Living Things that is causing,
what he did?
What did he do, Jay?
Tell us. What he did.
Tell us what he did.
He did a video. But anyway, we'll talk about that video later.
Now, if there's another thing I like about these collaborations is that, Sarkodie is a well-established artist in relation to all of these artists that he's featuring. So it's also a way of having to
help younger
these
talents.
people exactly on board. And that's a really,
I'm looking forward
really
to the
good thing.
Blacko one. I can't wait to hear what it sounds like.
Me too, definitely. Now, Thursday, we await for that breakdown to be done right here. But yes, up next is our big conversation. J&G, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Lenny. And you are not sitting on Sarkodie's right side when he comes, because she does that, and then she ignores us, like, the people who have been here with her all through.
No, whether the left side or right side, you still have Sarkodie in the studio with you.
All right, we're so excited. But that collaboration with Blacko, we're looking at his title, Countryside. We're all looking out for that song and see exactly what's going to come out of it. But I'm very sure it will be a big one.
Definitely.
Talking Big podcast is a big conversation coming up next in Studio 899. Don't go away.
Why you do me so? Oh, man, why you do me so? I know the way to do you, why you do me so? What else? Oh, man, why you do me so? What else? I think I said we're doing this together. I thought we were gonna be forever. Not me home yet, but I was trying to make it better. See, got 7 miles, be be farmed up for Stella. I guess I didn't get the memo. Minim say in the bank, you sign it emo. You always want to make me feel like me your bemo. Nisha once I'm recording my first demo. 2007, I'm a falling my work I would dream. And until you go now, it's like a dream. Obey baby cry, this is too extreme. And you wait, guess how many people go stream? Cause a lot of niggas know exactly what I'm talking about. It might be cheating, but mema it's not allowed. I swear to God, so maybe I was born faithful until the first female suddenly broke a vow. I feel like you can be my baby. What else? But you don't follow Aladigo. God no. I feel like you could be my honey. But you go say I know fear for your bills, zero. Mama, I don't give up. Oh, you love me. Because without you, I know I'll be lovable. I don't give up. Oh, no one thing, nobody. I don't know what I am again. I'm a non-living thing. No, I'm a non-living thing. Without you, I'm a non-living thing. Baby, I don't exist. I don't exist I thought I was tripping. But I mean him said the time is ticking. And I could see that something was missing. Me my liberty, I never kept you in the kitchen. Cause superwoman and I believe in your vision. What else? Can't name me hot, but I was wishing. See me because when I talk, you know the lesson. Many bema, but you took over position. Sake of allergy, the pain, and also with jamming the block. We munye na be see then a boy sing your fraud. About the taco crime, me push it drug. Sika legitimate and as a blood. Now me feel say we go right until the end. Then so all along you they pretend. Damn, I guess I lost a friend. Thought I got it figured, there's a lot I need to learn.
Oh, man, why you do me so? I don't know what I do, why you do me so? Oh, man, why you do me so? I'm not eating pay me. It be like seven hard on they feel me. I they feel it, this thing for my kidney. It they shook me, they do for my penny. It they pay me, yo, for my penny. I know if you do this, if any can me. I feel lost in my card, all my penny. I don't know what I am again, I'm a non-living thing. No, no. I don't know anything I've been doing for you. So no, see you mean a lot to me. Oh, so, yeah. And why you me? Come and get me. Feeling my penny, baby. Yeah. Come and get me. I'm another baby. Them never see nothing, they go see something. When I enter for the club, we go turn big thing. Not the killer for my hood, they won't touch my thing. Kilo day won't vex by me, I want lack over. Supreme, Musagushi down till you voting. Even your commando and your Bruce but she read me long berry, want to shame me. Yeah, I need picking me one song. Agbaje, give me one puff. Ọmọ yẹn sáré wọlé mo ti bó ń tan. Ayé kan lọ, ayé kan bọ̀. Ọmọ kan lọ, ọmọ kan bọ̀. Mr. Money rọra. Abija mọ̀ nǹkan rà. Yeah, better run out if you cover. My love, why if you no get insurance? I'm about a day for you, if you day for me. Yeah, if you need gelato. Yeah, my put up in Pinocchio. Million popo kesi and dodo. Anima very a photo. Olo follow me no ologo. Yeah, my shebi olodo. 1964 Latin mokoko. I'm loaded. Oh, I'm loaded. Olo ni debe. My baby nobody did there. I'm loaded. I'm loaded. My baby nobody did that.
They want just one thing, they go learn lesson. I call up for the Kai Festi. They need a boru. I want to feel me pasta. Sex the bully by me jet. It got to take it in. I will never focus in the air.
Whatever fuck you.
So all of my don't so. To take your money to more than London. Money too long, you not get to bust up. Money can't. They want your story, may finish me for you. Them not they use me play when I have that shit down. You if you pay for me. Jaya bunny gelato. Yeah, my Pinocchio. Feeling Popo, Kissy and Jojo. Anima where you photo. All of them they know loco. Yeah, my Chevy Oloto. 1964, I see Mukoko. I'm loaded. I'm loaded. All of my days, baby. My baby nobody did that. I'm loaded. I'm loaded. All of my days, baby. My baby nobody did that.
And yes, we're back, and that was Ashake and Tiwa Savage. You don't want to know the conversation behind there a few minutes ago, but yes, lovely video by all standards. Let's move straight into our conversation this morning. We're talking the rise of podcasts. Now, let's put some attention on this, because this is very interesting. It will surprise you that you didn't even know that you were enjoying certain podcasts. You didn't even know that it was a podcast you were enjoying, but one way or the other, it's gotten you glued to it. Now, this morning, we're talking on how a new wave of content creators are starting a new industry using their personal experiences and people of common interest to be making huge income and also improving the creative economy. And this morning, I'm here with the buffet. Okay, and when I say I'm here with the buffet, we get to choose, from people who lead this industry or who are very heavily engaged in this industry of podcasts. And I have my guests live in the studio with me, except Cyril. Get a shot first, get a shot first, and then we can take the rest on. But lady and gentlemen, welcome. So let me allow each person to introduce himself and herself, and then tell us what you do, the space you play in, just to have a quick background into yourself as well. So let me start off with the president on my right.
Okay, my name is Joseph Inti, and I'm the host of the Sincerely Accra podcast.
Sincerely Accra.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be coming into it in a bit. Yeah.
Yes, that's hosted by the GCR Network. Yeah, and that's my boss.
JCR Network.
GCR.
Oh, GCR.
The Gold Coast Report. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, interesting. Boss.
He says boss. My name is Cyril. I run GCR with my partner Donald, and essentially we function as a podcast network. So we have a bunch of different podcast shows on our network, and that's what we do.
Interesting. Okay, so we have a couple in the studio. I like that. Thank you. And
hi, I'm Zoo. And
Zulu.
Zoo.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a podcast with Afi here.
Okay.
It's called Stay by Plan.
We met already, have we?
Yes, I feel like we met before. Kuzo.
Wait, were you at the YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, you. Do you know where we met? In the washroom. Yeah. Yes, yeah. So I was watching the face and I'm like, no, I think I know you from somewhere. Yeah, I was trying to. Yeah, we went in the wash. Am I lying?
No, you're not.
See, we went in the washroom. No, I'm just
It was
just by
like
the way.
a normal meetup in the washroom. nothing
Yes.
special.
We never connected again since then.
I mean, Faith has it that we are here today. So
Exactly. Welcome.
Thank you.
Cyril, you can introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm the resident victim. I'm the in-house victim.
Wow. Anyway, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you.
I mean, we've all one way or the other been plugged into podcasts. I mean, what we are doing here even is a podcast. But when we share it on those platforms where people can go and listen to and get entertained. But let's get deeper into what your content or what your platforms or what you do exactly is about. So let's talk about the
Sincerely Accra.
Sincerely Accra and what it is.
All right, so the Sincerely Accra podcast is essentially driven by Vox Pops and in-studio interviews.
Okay.
So with the Vox Pops, we go out into town, just ask people different questions, especially things affecting millennial and Gen Z living. Young people living in Accra, what it's like. And then we played on the episode. I give my opinions, and then we also have a segment where we ask people to send in listener letters, and I advise people. Apparently, I give good advice, but yeah,
questionable.
And then the other one is when we get guests to come into the studio and we interview them. We've had Efia on. We've had Junior from Home Sweet Home, who is like a whole grown up now.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
One time we do people interest stories, so we've interviewed bouncers. Nightlife. We did that last December.
Who's topping your chart on the bounce? Is this FM?
No, I didn't get FM. We got one person from Front and one person from the place where it's all the biggest. Tantra. Yes.
Tantra, yeah.
So we've done a couple of interviews and stuff. So that's how it operates. It comes out every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
On Mondays. And then the week that it doesn't come out, we have a Twitter space to discuss the last episode.
Is it difficult putting it together? Hence the reason why you do it every 2 weeks?
Yes. And it's also because, everyone involved in it has
other
side
things.
jobs and other jobs. Yeah, so it is. We need a time to put it together.
I'm going to be asking you if this can't be a main job. It's a side chicken for now, but
it can.
It can.
I think it can.
We'll touch on the revenues, opportunities in there. So how long have you been running this podcast?
5 years.
5 years?
Yes. We started in 2017.
2017.
podcasts were not
Listen,
really.
People used to, you know how when you get your iPhone and you want to make space, people delete the podcast app.
Yes.
Because nobody was.
That's true.
So when we started, Cyril and I had to tell people, oh, don't delete it or like re-download it because podcasting, nobody cared for that app. Yeah, so.
Wow, 5 years. And what made you decide that, look, of all the things we can do in 2017, let's go for a podcast?
Okay, so a number of things. I had just listened to this podcast called Serial.
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 S-E-R-I-A-L.
You know this guy that was wrongfully accused of a murder?
He's watching his
I know it's not serial. No, it's not. Yeah, and so I already liked the idea because I listened to it and it was very nice. And then I got invited to be on a podcast that was on the network called Free Your Mind. So after that, my friend and I who co-created the podcast, I spoke to him. I said, I think we can start a podcast and we can, go with these guys because they're a network. They seem organized and everything. So we sent an email, and they liked our idea.
Wow.
And then we just started. The first thing we did didn't work out, so we had to re-strategize because Ghanaians are not very honest people when you are asking them to give their honest opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So now we had to, because at first we were doing something else. And then now we had to come back to the Vox Pops with anonymity. So nobody knows who you are, don't say your name. And it's usually like during nightlife. So people have had a few drinks. They are more willing to speak to you. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what drove you to choose, this particular area of topic or type of podcast, to do? Did you have any sort of research done to find which one would have the most human interest stories that you can share? Or did you feel like it was just, hey, let's just try this?
I think, so for GCR, they started 5 years ago. We started about 6 years ago. So we had been running a full year before Cynthia Lacra came in the picture. We started GCR because my partner and I, Donald, we're huge fans of podcasting, and we figured we had the opportunity to start that in Ghana. So it was essentially became our weekend activity. We reached out to friends, and everybody we reached out to actually showed up. So we kind of had the interesting challenge of starting with 3 shows versus the one show we thought we needed to start with. So we started as a network because everybody said yes, and it didn't make sense to tell people you couldn't do it. So we sort of essentially learned on the job. So starting from just supremely passionate about what we are doing and then getting the skills and now being essentially professionals in this space that we are carving out. Now, Kwame is the co-creator for Sincerely Accra, a friend, shout out Motown. He reached out with, he introduced this idea. We spoke about it, and then we loved the direction they were going because up until that point, most of the shows on our network were network created. And at this point, we're keen to see what collaboration with other people look like because one thing we recognize about the space is that GCR are very keen on collaboration. We don't own all the good ideas. There are other people with amazing ideas out there who may not have the infrastructure or the systems in place to get a podcast up and running. So Sincerely Accra became that test case. What does it look like if we partner with people who just sound amazing, we like their work ethic, we like what they're about, and we work together and see what happens. And 5 years down the line, these guys are the #1 podcast in Ghana, and it's just been an amazing journey so far. So,
wow,
that's been us. Yeah.
Please, even before we continue, can we have a round of applause before I tell you what the applause is for? Because today, Serial just woke up to some good news. Let's touch on that again.
He was sharing that backstage, so now he's going like,
this is great news. Like, this is a big deal that is worth talking about.
I mean, I'm the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences, so it's basically audio work, everything. There's a podcast that I work on called The Africa Whisperer, hosted by Lee Kasumba. And we got nominated as one of the outstanding African voice content as well.
So you see, that's great. Yeah.
And it's just coincidence that the universe chose today to have the conversation. So the vibes, the blessings to everybody. Because I mess with all of your stuff, and I know what it takes to get a good podcast, and I see what you're doing. But I want to know from Cyril.
Yeah.
I rarely mention my own name.
It feels weird. I know.
Oh wait, I want to know from Cyril. Everybody wanted to do a podcast. What was the genius idea of going with, let me be an aggregator? I mean, you touched on it saying that, the ideas are not all in one head, blah, blah, blah. But what's it like actually building the network, bringing on board different content styles, scheduling it, making sure everything is okay? And how do you want to capitalize on all these properties that are under the GCR?
I think there's probably a fair bit that has to do with personality, and I think naturally myself and Donald, who I run GCR with, we do like reaching out. We do like working with people. So in terms of, hey Jay, I heard you speak to this issue. I think there's a possibility of us working on longer form content, podcasting. Let's have a conversation. That's very easy for us. So that made it a bit easy in terms of working with people. Thankfully, our admin skills have grown. We started with a bit, but like he mentioned, there's scheduling, there's multiple personalities, which you can imagine. And Joseph said, this isn't a full-time gig. So honestly, what we are asking from people is give us maximum effort for something that we aren't paying you for. And we are building together, and we believe we can monetize at XXX future date. That's a lot. And Ghana does have its struggles and challenges. Yeah. Thankfully, when these conversations come up, we are able to, honestly, it's just be honest with people as to what our goals are, what we see in terms of assessment, the space growing. And Cyril winning the award, Joseph Sincerely Accra, Kwame Asante winning the award, the space getting recognition. We do have Afi, shout out Free Your Mind Alarm, also going out doing her own thing. It kind of makes sense because we can see the offshoots, we can see the growth in the space, and it's becoming a thing. And that's amazing to see.
Amazing. I like that. Zoo, let me come to you about what you do. I mean, now he's mentioning Sincerely Accra. Yeah, Sincerely Accra. I don't know why Sincerely yours just kept on running. Yeah, Sincerely Accra. Let's talk about what you do as well, and let's get deeper into it.
Yeah, so what we do is we are Stay by Plan, the podcast.
Stay by Plan.
Yes, obviously derived from Accra Stay by Plan, the term that we own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we dropped Accra. It's just too long for usernames. It doesn't work. So Stay by Plan Pod, we have guests most of the time. I think only 2 episodes have no guests so far. We have guests all the time. We talk about different things. We talk to people from different areas in Accra, different fields. We've spoken to musicians, bankers, Uber drivers, everybody.
What's the purpose of talking to all these people, and what do you talk about?
Yeah, just to see how everybody's handling Accra, because as he said, Accra is insane, especially now. It's insane. Just getting by every day is crazy. So we just talk to people. How has it been for you? How did you get to this point? We've had guests like Kwesi Arthur, we've had Joey B, we've had who have you had? Talkative Mom. We've had just people from different walks of life, just to get their perspective on Accra and see how it is, you know what I mean? So that's how it works for us.
Is it intentional to focus on Accra?
Yeah, because that's what we know. That's where we've grown up. This is our space. We want to have the podcast in a space where we are familiar with what's going on, and then eventually from there we can branch out to other cities, other countries. Yeah.
Just because of your background, I am told a little bit is whispering into my mind in my ear about being able to, you have a platform that aggregates the numbers, and you talk about in terms of the patronage of podcasts. What has it been so far? Like when you look at the numbers and the people who are listening, is it encouraging as compared to the 30 million Ghanaians that we have? Are we?
We definitely don't have 30 million Ghanaians listening to it, but just even from when we started, we've been doing it for a year and a half, so we are still kind of compared to our OGs here.
Yeah.
We're still kind of new in the game, you know what I mean? So just even seeing the numbers from day one compared to now, I'm just like, I can't believe it, you know what I mean? It's insane.
I'm interested in finding who is listening to us. I mean, not in here. I mean, to the content, demographics, location, territories. Who's listening to these podcasts that we generate from Accra, Ghana, to be specific?
Oh, okay. I mean, for me, in the last 2 years, given how big the show has become, I always run into people who tell me they listen, and it's from, uni, 20-year-old to I've met a 40-year-old woman who listens to the podcast. So, and what I also know is a lot of Ghanaians living abroad listen to it because they say it reminds them of Ghana, when they miss home. Because, our podcast, I mix Ga and Tree. My pidgin is terrible, but I try. And Kwame puts in a lot of Ghanaian. It's really heavily Ghanaian music, especially the nostalgic era of the 2000s. So that's where we play. So, and we use a lot of sound bites from popular culture. So yeah, it ranges from Gen Z straight up to 40 something.
What does it take in creating yours? Stay by Plan.
What goes
into creating this? Is it difficult? Is it must you be very strategic on what you discuss? Considering what is probably trending or what is of interest to people, or it's just today let's just vibe, let's just talk about.
So we've tried doing just vibes before, and then we had like a very bad episode. So for us, we try as much as possible to make sure we have an outline, but then we play around the outline most of the time. So a typical episode, like Joseph as well, we do ours every other week. We release 2 episodes in a month, but sometimes we record earlier depending on how busy the month is. But like you're saying, that whole ensuring that you're not talking about something this week and then next week is not relevant anymore is also present. So you have to be strategic with the time you record and then the kind of things you're talking about on the podcast as well.
Cyril, I don't know, but I've heard you all talk about, they've all spoken about the times they release it. Now, considering the number of things that are on social media that give people so much attention, are these numbers, the rate of release enough to be able to make the statement that, I don't know, that...
And also the topics.
I'm this is just probably to everyone.
What determines, what's a hot topic? Do you determine it like in-house, that this is what we want to go with and see if people resonate with it, or are you feeding into the whatever noise is out there and trying to pick out a salient point that you can actually flesh out?
I think for us it's a bit of both. But I think it's definitely more in-house than what is happening out there. So for us, as much as possible, we try to have conversations that are unique and people wouldn't have otherwise heard on a normal day. Because, not to bash radio stations, but sometimes when they're interviewing people, like, the questions are always the same. Like, hey, we heard you are dating this person, we heard you are doing this.
We don't do that here. So
exactly. So, for example, when we
had a heated debate about this here yesterday.
I saw that. Yeah. So, for example, when we're talking to someone like Kwesi Arthur, we asked him, like, what was the struggle like? And now that you are famous, do you have, like, imposter syndrome that, Charlie, I'm supposed to be in Temao, and I'm now balling in LA and stuff. So we try and ask the questions that, like, the everyday Ghanaian will want to ask these people, so that at least there's this interest that is pegged up in the people. So that's our drive.
Transitioning from podcast, I'd say in the same media space, you have Twitter Spaces. Is Clubhouse still alive?
It sure is. I started Clubhouse.
Okay, Jay, this morning I heard
what did you eat before you started?
It started
They don't believe it. They don't believe it.
All before 40.
All before 40. Challenge, genius mode. So Clubhouse is dead, eh?
I mean, essentially, everybody copied their audio feature because Twitter Spaces has it, Discord has it, Microsoft has it. Everybody copied it, essentially.
I think if WhatsApp introduces
it, they suffered the Skype fate.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, Skype was dancing around and Zoom came.
Yeah.
Same thing for Clubhouse. Oh, man. So anyway, so with all these things, right, like people going on live, having conversations, interactivity is on the rise.
Yeah.
And then here you are putting out content that's twice...
Every 2 weeks.
Twice a month. So in that month, only God knows how many spaces, everything, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any plans or do you see any dynamics in your podcasting where you kind of tie into the ongoing conversation? As much as you have your prime conversations you want to focus on, do you have any plans that see you, or any strategy in mind that ties you into the ongoing conversations?
Okay, so just like Afi mentioned, we do a bit of both. Definitely, before we have a season model. So before the season starts, I sit with Kwame and we look at all the possible things we can talk about, and then we also give room for things that can happen. You know, for us, because we use popular sound bites and things like that, even if the conversation is not something that's current, the current sound bites and things will keep it fresh because we also pre-record. But that's why we're also getting into things like Twitter Space, because a lot of people always say, oh, make it weekly, but it's impossible. So we do Twitter Space, and then now we also started on Instagram, and we try to do, we do this thing called The Way In. So anytime I go to an event or whatever, I ask random questions, and I get people's opinion on camera, and I put it on the story. So, I mean, even though we come out every 2 weeks, in between our release, you are getting content from us in studio, things like that, just to keep it going, yeah.
What's the feedback?
The feedback. Our Instagram is doing
Comparatively, like, so your podcast is twice a month. You know what that feedback is like, but you're also going out way in people's faces with the cam. There's a Twitter space, blah blah blah. What do you say is more responsive?
The engagement is actually very good, especially with the Instagram. You know, Twitter is on and off. Yeah. Twitter is very difficult to track. We actually blew up on Twitter. Twitter is what helped us get the numbers, and we just started on Instagram this year, and it's doing well. We get a lot of comments because, you know, it's people, you're asking really interesting questions, and people are giving answers. When we also get invited to events, I do, you know, a reel or whatever, put it out there. So I think it's very responsive. For me, I meet people every day. I was telling somebody, right now at this point in my life, every day I meet somebody that says, "Oh, hi, I listen to your podcast." Da, da, da. So that's like in-person feedback. Online too, you get feedback. Yeah, and then we also have our numbers from our episodes that shows that people are listening.
I wanted to touch on, you know, some of the challenges that are that you face in this podcast space. Let's discuss that real quick. I just want to have a very fair idea. Then we can look at the opportunities that are available. You know, what are some of the realistic challenges that are staring at you in your face in production, marketing, promoting, creating? You know, the very realistic ones.
Wait, what are unrealistic challenges?
Well, I'll tell you. I was going to say, but I said let me just hold on with it. I'll tell you.
Number one is money. Like
money.
That's the root of all the evil that we are going through as podcasters. Yeah, honestly, that's where everything starts from. Because if just to have a podcast, you probably would need people to help you. It can't just be the two of us. When we started, it was just the two of us. We had help, but if you don't have money to pay people who don't necessarily believe in your dream, then it's like, why are we here? You know, they don't really want to help. So number one is money. And obviously when you start a podcast, you're starting from zero listenership. And it's like, why should I give you money? You don't have any listeners yet. You know what I mean? So building up from...
Yeah, I think you may have to speak up. I don't know whether it's the thing about people who do podcasts and low-tone conversation.
Oh.
Chill. One, right? Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we're getting feedback that we can't hear you, so...
Yeah, so like I was saying, money is the root of our problems. Another thing is... which, like I say, I think every problem we will speak about today is connected to money. But, you know, just having personnel, people who understand the job, understand podcasts, working with you on your podcast to help you push your podcast out there. It's hard to find people like that. For me, those are the two main challenges. Yeah.
What about? Okay, there's more. What about?
Yeah, there's more.
Yeah.
So there's
I
more.
also want to add some,
Yeah.
actually.
So I'll let Afi go then.
Yeah, with respect to how when we even started this, it's a growing field in Ghana. So we are learning on the job with respect to should we make our podcast is both audio and video, and it makes it more difficult because we have to edit the video and then we have to edit the audio. So what kind of angle is good? What kind of cuts should we have? What is important? What isn't? It's very complicated because you are learning on the job. And in as much as you want everybody to listen to the podcast, you still have to realize that you are in Ghana. So you are trying to make it appealing to the Ghanaians. So you have to find that balance of, this is interesting, but at the same time, a Ghanaian can relate to it and someone outside the country relates to it. So yeah, money is the root, but even with equipment, what kind of cameras are you using? What kind of lighting are you using? Your audios, are you editing it right? Because, I mean, none of us here went to sound school or engineer. We are learning on the job. So I feel like that's the main issue.
I'll let Joseph go then.
Okay, well, different things. When we began, was getting people to talk to me because I just show up at Republic and I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question for my podcast? Who are you? What is the, you know, we had to fight through that. So I had to start with my friends. So if I go out, I'll ask my friends. And then maybe if people see what they are doing and then you go to them, it's easier. Another thing is, you know, we are doing this and it's content and everything, but we need money. And we always try to go to brands.
That's the guy who just received a lot of cash from.
We'll be talking about that.
Listeners, viewers,
allow cash out.
He made a lot of money from Star Wars. No, let me not say he made a lot of money. He got support, financial backing
for not me. The podcast.
The podcast got a lot of financial backing and support from Spotify, right? Yes, we'll talk about that bit. But you finish with the problem, which we don't believe you.
It is a problem because, you know, sometimes you want to do live events, you want people to come and do ads on there so that you can at least make some money to do some of the things that you want, and nobody seems to get it. You know, they ask who is Joseph Inti, what is a podcast? Oh, come back if maybe Jackie Appiah is hosting a podcast, then we'll give you money. You know, things like that. So it's been very difficult to get brands and partnerships to work. And then when we start, no, it's true. And then when we started doing interviews too, oh my goodness, it's so hard to get Ghanaian celebrities to either read the emails that you put an email bio there, and we send you a nice email saying we'd like to interview you, blah blah blah. Nobody reads it. DM, nobody reads it. It's so difficult. So
the culture.
Yeah, because people on social media will be like, oh, Joseph, interview Jay Foley. And they don't know that I've sent Jay Foley a message 2 months now. You know what I mean? Yeah, so those are some of the challenges.
I think co-signing everything that has been said. Yeah. But I think for us, starting out, there were some unique peculiarities to Ghana that we kind of had to figure out. Starting audio file size. When you mix a master, you want to export as large as possible because you retain quality. But then Accra, Ghana has this unique situation where your data size affects the number of listens and downloads. So we kind of had to play around to find that sweet spot where we could have our file as small as possible, but then also be as good as possible, because you want people listening to the podcast and go like, I'm listening to Celia Accra, Kwame did a good job, I can hear Joseph clearly, I'm listening to Free Your Mind, this worked. Another thing also is, you asked this question a bit earlier, internet penetration and smartphone. Right now, in terms of delivering a podcast, if you don't have a smartphone, it's kind of difficult to listen to. At least with radio, you still do have the shortwave, so you still have FM. I don't know if AM is still around, but you can listen with your battery-powered device. Yeah. If you don't have a smartphone, it's going to be very difficult for you to access or listen to the shows on our network. So these are some of, I guess for us as a network, more network-wide issues that we kind of pay attention to and are trying to figure out how to maybe, not necessarily solve, but kind of like a slapstick solution. How do we just put together a solution that kind of makes it work, but ultimately it's going to be some level of investment in the space. So not necessarily into GCR or individual shows, but then the industry as a space growing up and being well supported, and then these things become less of challenges and be hopefully small hurdles that we can just jump and on to the next one.
Interesting.
How big are you on collaboration? Because it's a digital platform, right?
Yeah.
Which means the world doesn't matter. You could be pushing it in China for all we care.
That's true.
Right. I listen to Ben Shapiro's podcast. I listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to a bunch of far right.
Yeah, just to get a sense of what
stuff. I'm a conspiracy nut, so
this one is far right. This one is far left.
I'm deep in on that side, right?
Yeah.
And look, I'm in the back of Accra somewhere, tuned in. I'm adding to their million listeners. So I'm thinking, how do you guys go about collaborations, outreach beyond the core mandate? Because I would love to know what it's like to be in Accra.
Yeah.
And stay by plan.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not in Accra. So far as it's a thrilling and engaging experience that you're putting across. So I want to know how much you are actively pushing for it to go beyond your core listenership here. And if there are any plans or any attempts have been made previously and any milestones as well.
Quick response. There's a saying, a prophet is known as his home. Well, it's not known, but I think that the asterisk with our correction for podcasting would be is known in his own hometown. Mm-hmm. Before you can reach out, you can collaborate, that's possible. And we do have shows that have reached out to 1 or 2 random people outside of Ghana. And one thing COVID helped with was that we're able to more focus on remote recording. So now I can hop behind the computer, get Jay on the other side. All he needs is, even a regular earpiece works. We can make the audio work. It's not going to be studio quality, but we can make it work, and the listeners understand. However, in terms of trying to push, because if I reach out to, let's say Jay is in, let's keep it simple, it's in South Africa, and we are reaching out to him to collaborate on a show, first thing he's going to do is, what's your show about? He's going to probably check the socials. He's probably going to ask what the listenership is. And then that informs his response to some degree. So podcasts in Ghana would still have to build their audience, build their base, and then use that as a platform to reach out, because you want people in Jay's mention saying, hey Jay, I think you should go talk to these people because they are pretty cool, and that has the show in his radar. Because you ask him, he's going to ask his friends, let's say you guys are in South Africa, Charlie, these guys are saying Sincerely Accra or this show, I should go on. Have you heard of them? Never heard of them. At that point, it's not going to be him rolling the dice as to whether he wants to go on or not. So we still need that #GH support, and then that becomes a platform which we roll out with.
Yeah. Let me ask you on with regards to, we mentioned internet penetration and internet availability and costs. And so what is the average length of your podcast, or a podcast should be, so that you don't get people too bored or too much asking for more? What is the average length like?
So when me and Zoo started the podcast, I remember very clearly that I told Zoo that I don't want the podcast to be 1 hour, because me personally, if I see any audio that is 1.00.0, forget it, I'm not listening. So at first we started keeping it very sweet at 30 minutes, but as time has gone, we now hit we've actually done 1 hour before, but now on average it's about 15 minutes. And that's because our listeners were like, oh my God, the episode was so short, we wanted more. So the only reason why we extended it a little bit was because that is what our listeners wanted. So right now it's like 50 minutes.
Talking about the, recent YouTube making itself more visible, in Ghana now. Did you have any chance of working, because you touched on collaborations, and how did they benefit off if you partook in anything they did, and how are you using their platform as well to amplify yourself and connect?
Well, Zoo, Afi, and I got selected by YouTube to go and see the Global Citizen Festival, VIP style. They were at Kwale's, and they brought in influencers from all over Africa.
You've been chilling.
I mean, we're finally getting some of the perks. Yeah, so we met Josh Tufani, Lasizwe, all these
Okay,
guys.
we have it on the screen as you. Yeah.
Oh wow! You guys work fast. Yeah, so we were able to meet them, and the funny thing is that they also do podcasts and stuff like that. So we've made connections, and we plan to leverage on it to be able to do collaborations in different places as well. So that was very important. And we also had like a session where they taught us about YouTube Shorts, how the revenue is going to be coming in, how to make money. So yeah.
Yes. What was the experience like? You also plugged in with them, right?
Yeah. We're there as well. Amazing experience. It was only for 2 nights, but it felt like a week. It was amazing. Yeah. But by the end of the weekend, I was tired. But it was an amazing experience.
How were you selected? And what was the experience like? Did you get anything from it?
Because you really not understanding why.
We got an email.
We can't be doing this.
I got an email.
All kind of nonsense. Really?
I got an email. I didn't even think it was serious.
Out of the blue, right?
Yeah. I didn't think it was serious. And then I got a call from the UK. Yeah. And right now, all these like numbers that I've been calling. Yeah. So I didn't pick, and then I picked the second time, and they were like, "Hey, listen, reply to this email." So and so, and even when they said they were going to house us at Kwale, I was like, "I live in Accra. I can just come." They're like, "No." So it was just an email. I don't know what they saw.
Did the mail go to spam?
No, it came straight.
It was just unread because he's skeptical.
Yeah, I read it, but I was like,
Yeah, I don't know about you, but personally, even my personal emails, I get lots of emails from. Also, and it seems so legit, but I just know that no, this one there. So I thought it was one of those ones like.
Did you earn anything from that interaction? Global Citizen, YouTube, and maybe even in opportunities, leverage, barter?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would say. For sure. Opportunities, and also meeting the other creators.
Yeah.
Because even the video that I did for the Global Citizen on Instagram got over 20,000 views.
Yeah.
Because of all these people being in it, So definitely that's what we gained out.
There's a lot of content creators on social media, funny video guys, skits, bloggers, blah blah blah, right? But they weren't called up. So let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, I mean people have been dancing.
People are putting in work, but like on the day to day, and they weren't called up.
I mean, I should say that I have a YouTube channel, and I used to have a show that was big. It's called Off the Top. It was a trivia show. We have 6 seasons of it.
I've seen Off the Top with the colorful font.
Yes. So if let's say YouTube was actually, and they are fully video on YouTube. So if maybe YouTube was looking at people that put stuff on YouTube, maybe that could be it. Yeah.
There's a platform thing. The other people might have not been on
YouTube so much. Yeah, possibly.
Okay, but looking at content forms, right? How are you capitalizing on each one? Now, everything is different. Instagram is all about Reels. You post a picture, it's baller.
Yeah.
Right? It's about Reels. TikTok is still dancing. Snapchat's still alive. How do you incorporate all these platforms to draw market towards your podcast? Because you're an audio platform, right? And where do you host? First of all, you need to be you're on Apple Podcasts, you're on Spotify. Where are you? That's first. And then how do you connect all these platforms to it?
Oh, sorry, I guess me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are on all the audio, so Apple, Spotify, what do you call it, Amazon Music, all of them. One of the beauties of podcasts is once you have your RSS feed, it's easy to plug into all these different spaces, so that's taken care of. The other platform that you mentioned is a pretty interesting one because similar to, let's touch on what Zoo and Afi kind of said, these platforms have their own unique languages, and one thing you kind of realize is sometimes you can't have one content fits all. So an ideal would be you are recording this session right now. It's going out as audio. The full clip is going out as YouTube. We cut 1 minute for Reels, and then we cut 30 seconds for TikTok, and then we do 15 seconds for Snapchat. That's the ideal. But like you're saying, TikTok has a different audience base. So does that mean that after we are done with this session, we all stand by Jay Foley and do a fun dance so that we get a TikTok video? Snapchat is a different kind of feel. So does that mean that after we are done, we do that? So, and that now becomes, I need a team. Because if it's just a collective of people who are now primarily focused on the recording and the editing, Charlie, now they come ask me to make a do TikTok. Now they come ask me to make around my Snapchat. That's one person. Mind you, you have your own personal social media handle accounts that the creators are managing. And then you have your show accounts that you're also trying to leverage and get traffic to. Again, this is something that we are doing out of passion. So at some point, it's an ideal. It's something that we are working towards. But then it's going to have to be, as we've mentioned, resources coming in, and then all of that coming in.
Okay, so let's switch this up a little bit. I mean, this is the business we are talking about. It sounds exciting, you know, but I just want it to be as relatable as possible to... I want stories. We mentioned, you know, Cyril was talking about stories. I want experiences, real fun moments in your production and the conversations. Then that dovetails into some of the topics that gets you the most traction, you know. So I want to hear from all of you. The stories, some of the most amazing stories and conversations you have. Audience reaction. What did people say? How did you interact amongst yourselves as well?
I'll pass it to Afi after this, but I just have one story.
She did something,
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of stories because we meet a lot of people. Every episode is with a different person, so every episode is different. But there was this one episode that we had. I don't want to say his name, but this guy came late, and Afi was supposed to go for a party. And at the party, Thames was at that party.
Okay.
And because this guy came late, we had to record late, and she missed the whole party. I was stressed. What should I still go? I don't know what to do. I was like, oh god. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you don't really have guests that often, but your guests, I don't know if your guests come late, because for us that's a problem that we have, and I can't stand it. Personally, I cannot stand it.
Do you think it's disregard? It's just a podcast,
especially with the musicians. Yes.
Hi. Yes. I think it's a Ghana man. I don't think it's disregard,
especially time for you guys.
Well, yes, they have to
because you guys go live.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll show up when they show up.
they come early. They try. I mean, you guys came early, so you know it's good. Yeah, most of these stories, yes,
it's because of the live thing. Yours is live, so ours they just feel like, Charlie, they come. I did on the way. Like that's how it is.
Yeah.
So with respect to interesting stories, so we had Joey B on the podcast, and he spoke about how his girlfriend broke his heart. And the whole, almost like 80% of the podcast was his life story with the girl, how they broke up, how he forgot he had a girlfriend, and that's the reason why they broke up. And that video blew up because everybody's Exactly.
He did what? Where?
He said he forgot he had a girlfriend.
Joe.
So when she called him and she was like, it's over, he was like, a girlfriend. Yeah, so that was like really funny.
Wow, that's interesting. I can imagine. Joe B will always give you something to just laugh about.
Yeah, so we did like a snippet of that and put it on TikTok, and it's one of like the most popular videos we have on TikTok. Yeah, and then we spoke to talkative mom, Eno. She talks about like lifestyle, very open about motherhood, and she spoke about the process of childbirth, which is something that they never really talk about in Ghana. And she talked about how, like, if the baby isn't coming out, they will take something and cut. So that was also very...
Are you ready?
Next question.
This is the podcast.
So yeah, all these different conversations with different people, they say certain things that like you wouldn't hear on the average day. Is what really brings the traction. And for us, TikTok, funny enough, Zoo started a TikTok. We were on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere else. And Zoo was like, we should be on TikTok. And I'm like, okay. And he was just posting the videos there randomly. And now TikTok is one of our biggest platforms because people even think it's a TikTok podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. So back to what he was saying about how often do you release stuff. At least we have our TikTok where we have snippets coming out almost like 4 times a week. So people are able to see snippets and eventually they are able to like be pushed to listening to the podcast or like going on YouTube.
Okay, I want sorry.
Jay, go.
And I want more stories.
Well, I don't know. This is like a PG show. What?
No.
Okay.
I don't know because we do Vox Pops. Like the very first Vox Pop we did was how long a man should last in bed, and I remember
how long a man should last in bed.
And
no, I'm actually asking you.
I mean,
consensus say.
Well, I mean,
what does the consensus
when
say?
you take away foreplay, I think the average time should be 15 minutes. That's what I think. Wow. Yeah. But a lot of people were saying some really ridiculous things. People were
all the girls in the production room are giggling in my ear.
No, but people were going on saying...
Well, he does 30.
How would you know?
They call him Big Joe. I mean,
They call him Big Joe.
Big Joe, like...
All right, Big Joe.
Jay, so as I was saying...
I have a question.
Yeah.
It seems like podcasts are more or less conversational.
Oh, wait, no. I beg you.
Wait. No, you do it. I want to leave the
15.
question
Okay.
on the stove to be brewing. Then when he's done telling us about 15 minutes or more, we can talk about it. Like, I don't know if you guys remember By the Fireside or if I'm too old.
Oh, no.
Goodness.
I don't remember.
So,
No, we remember.
yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, Jay. Well,
Pimp
we'll bring the
now.
Cerelac soon.
Well, to be fair, when you're thinking about Twitter inventing Facebook and all of
he's
that,
busy.
you are busy.
There's a lot on his
Thank
mind.
you very
We
much.
know.
Thank you very much.
By the Fireside was a podcast.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yeah.
It was literally the old
Audiovisual.
lady.
A recorded conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that, you see, that spoke to traditional values and was trying to actually impact a way of thinking and behavior. I've heard a lot of what you've spoken about right now, and it's entertainment value, it's Vox Pop, it's trying to get one-liners, trying to get leads in to get people interested. Do you have anything that has that By the Fireside foundational thinking, or do you plan to do anything like that? Because Charlie Townspo, there's still the need to have that positive impact, regardless how woke we are being. And one thing that I've seen lacking on the podcast, like Cyril, I follow all this. One thing that I see lacking big time is that foundational element of somebody actually trying to fix what we can all see is wrong. The same way By the Fireside used to come on broad TV and say, this is wrong.
These are the morals. Yeah.
Don't do this, do that. Nobody's being bold enough in the podcast space. And you guys being the front runners here, YouTube, Global Citizen, all that, the world is watching you. I really want to know if you're considering that, and if not, why?
2 quick responses. I believe Sincerely Accra, Kwame and Joseph have sort of taken to that tone. The last 2 months I've seen Ghana, Accra go through, so we are still processing and reeling from it. But in terms of taking a stance and just speaking to what the issue is, Sincerely Accra has been doing that in the last couple of episodes. Now, specific to what Cyril has spoken about, you and I have had private conversations, and you see, the challenge with what you are requesting is it requires a level of audio production, and that is where, again, you winning that award for Africa Whisperer comes in, because it's a level of skill and resources to pull that off. We can't just have anybody come into the studio talking to a mic and just say, and Kokanansi did this, so don't do this. There is a depth to storytelling with audio that requires you adding on multiple elements. And I think as more people learn about the space, more people now become interested, aware, they then figure out, okay, so maybe this is what is dominating the space. Maybe I can come in from the left or from this side. As a network, these are things that we also do consider, because it means we get to have more options for people. Because people listen to podcasts, I listen to Joe Rogan, I listen to this, oh, is there any Ghanaian podcast? Then they discover a podcast. And then once they listen to this podcast, I want more, they listen to other podcasts. For us as a network, we see podcast listeners elastic. So once I listen to a podcast, doesn't mean I won't listen to any other podcast. So the goal now is, we are firmly set with this. How do we get other creators in and provide other multiple ones? To that effect, we started a podcast this year, Staying Alive, with Dr. Mary Eshen. I think she's a principal of GIS, and that's more geared towards parenthood. She has grown adult children, and it's her talking to her age mates about raising children, and it's a different level of vibe, because it's nice our parents talking about their life, dealing with us, and all of that. So it's now being intentional about hitting these various segments. How do we hit the pensioners? Like, They're about to retire. They are home. What does content for them sound and look like? But again, that's where you need a serial with that audio production and resources to tell that story. So it's at the back of our minds, but it's all about sometimes spacing yourself and doing what you can, and then taking that next step. Sorry, Joe.
Well, okay, add on to it.
Well, I just want, so I worked as a teaching assistant in a university for a while.
Don't forget about how long a man should last in
Okay, I'll go back to
I'm
that.
actually coming to
That's
that
what
again.
he was primed for.
Yeah, I did. And what I've realized is that delivery is very different now. You know, you can't have the same Mami Dokno approach. Delivery is very different. So we do a lot of education on my podcast. We're very plugged in, like I said, to the entertainment industry of old and now. And so I do a lot of, references. When I listen to a new song, Kwame and I are really good with that. We can tell you that, oh, this thing sounds like this, sample this. So we do that. And then also, a lot of social conversations that we have is necessary. We don't just talk about how long a man should last in bed. We've asked fresh graduates, how much do you think you should be earning when you get out of school? And it gives you perspective. And then now people start, so that's how we kind of blew up on Twitter, because now there's a conversation. People are like debating. And then it just adds to public discourse. And people know, first of all, what the base is, what you're not supposed to accept. Things like that. So we have like a variation of conversation that's affecting. It's not always just entertainment. Of course, the delivery is funny because that's how you get people to pay attention to a 1 hour podcast.
I mean, I was going to ask about the localizing, the content, but anyway, you're going to say.
I want to add basically the same thing for us. In as much as we are having fun and talking about Joey B's breakup and everything, we've had different episodes where we talk about relevant topics for the youth. We've had one on financial literacy before. We've actually had one on mental health before. That was with Adoma Music. So she opened up about her story and why she has been off the radar for a while. And she was basically going through depression and some other things that people don't actively talk about. And then we even had a medical practitioner there to guide the conversation so that it's not just like, oh, I think when you are depressed, you should do this. We had someone giving us the facts. And recently, we even had a conversation on sickle cell, which is something that is not even spoken about in the everyday Ghanaian home. So as much as we are having fun, we try and have these relevant topics so that the youth listen and learn from these things and know that, okay, if my boyfriend is AS and I'm AS, maybe we should consider breaking up or knowing that we cannot have a child because we are risking having a sickle cell child. So we try and have these conversations as well.
Interesting. Well, some tweets coming in here. I chanced on Sincerely Accra podcast early this year, which I haven't told us about the money yet. And I loved it instantly, though I haven't been able to keep up with it. The guys are doing a great job and always refreshing and listening. That's coming from Mr. Berry. This was also very interesting. It says, I have interest in this entertainment space, but can't honestly get connected to people with similar interests. So how do people connect with you guys? Because you're receiving so many tweets and comments, and DMs, so how do you?
Social media.
Because you also have to create opportunity for people.
Yes, social media. For me, I don't know, people assume that when you're a little bit popular, you don't read your DMs or something. I reply to every single time I reply to a random person. They're like, hey, you reply.
Try being Sarkodie or Shatawa.
The money has not changed you. we are happy to know. We haven't lost you yet.
You have not. But the thing is, when you are listening to somebody for 5 years, you feel like you know the person. Yeah. So people enter my DM with energy like they know me. They don't, like, people don't DM me on some, oh, hi. They are legit talking to you. So it's very easy. And then, like I say, anytime I go out, especially like nighttime, people just walk up to me and talk to me. People say, oh, I want to be on a podcast or blah, blah. So we've had, like, we did a segment where we had, like, all girls come and talk about dating and then all boys. And these are people that randomly.
So you have all these stories and you didn't say?
I mean, we were only at the beginning.
No, let's talk about the stories then now. Let's talk about the stories that, generates, considering the target audience, which stories, you're talking about the 15-minute man.
Yes, that was very interesting because a lot of people, I feel like sometimes you like to put on a show.
Yeah.
When I ask those questions in, like, let's say a crowd setting or whatever, people will be saying 2 hours, 1 hour, all those kind of things. And then when you ask somebody like isolated, they give you the truth and say, oh, me 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So, I mean, that's just an example of how,
What are you pointing to?
Oh, I didn't point to anybody.
when he did that, I went this way.
Exactly.
I don't do that.
I did it. But I mean, another thing that was very interesting to me that happened, I think maybe the 3rd year, was I went to a restaurant. I was ordering food, and there was somebody standing behind me. And then she said, I know this voice. And I just looked at her quietly, and I kept ordering. She's like, this is Josephine T. The next day, I know, she called her sister on WhatsApp video and just put her phone in my face. It's like, look at who I'm here with. So those are also, it just shows you how plugged in people are and how much they appreciate the show. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a bit about money. Okay. I mean, then it comes to how you were able to gather interest from Spotify to invest in your project, and then how you are also looking forward to, and how you generate money if you are making money, and the plans of turning this into a profitable business.
Okay, well, I think Spotify came to Ghana. Has it been 2 years or a year?
I think they came last year, right?
Yeah, and I think after their first month, they put out statistics on like the different things.
Music and podcasting.
Yeah, and Sincerely Accra was number 1. So that was like our first, oh wow, we are the number 1 podcast on Spotify in Ghana. Cool. And then I think 2-3 months ago or so, we got invited to a media engagement dinner where they talked about some of the plans that they had for Africa in the different categories, music, podcasting, And then after that, we got an email that just said that, we've been selected for the grants. Do we accept? That's the funny part. They're like, do you accept this? Like, we're going to say no.
Still deliberating.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we'll give you 2 days. Let us know if you want to do it. If you have to fill this form.
How fast did you fill that form, bro?
Oh, we did it at midnight. We even have a video because we did a call because Kwame is an American producer, and we filmed it and then we recorded ourselves sitting send. And then they told us that we'd gotten it, but we had to keep quiet until they announced. So I think we knew for about a week, right?
Yeah.
And we just waited.
Tough week.
For me, it wasn't tough.
Oh, it was a chill week. You were just at home,
week. I didn't know how people were going to take it.
So
laid
this
back.
is a grant.
Yes.
Definitely, was it all paid into your account? Is it released in batches? What are the conditions of its use and all that? So we don't let people just get excited.
As typical with grants, it comes with stipulations. So as to when the investment and all of that, exactly. So it's very much tied to that. Yeah. So within the next year, we have KPIs that would have to hit.
What are you using? How are you supposed to use these funds
to grow the podcast and also to? Spotify has been intentional. They do want to be the audio platform on the continent as well, and in identifying these African podcasters, they're also hoping to leverage their audience to also grow their platform. So it's going to be a combination of more Sincerely Accra goodness. So for sincerities, that's awesome, and then also Spotify also backing and pushing podcasting on.
Sorry, let me stay on you for a second, real quickly. Problem. So in when funds come in, and like we said, it comes with all its things they do. The IMF of this business. Does that in any way influence or affect the kind of content that you're going to put in now? Because now maybe because there are collaborations and all, there are things they might not want you to say, do.
I think, without revealing too much of what we've agreed to, Spotify have been a very excellent partner. The content as to the direction of the podcast isn't going to change. Anything that we put out going forward is going to be what Sincerely Accra and GCR have agreed to. So on that end, I can say that, nothing is going to change. It's just an infusion of cash. Say again.
How much?
Say that again.
How much?
Say that again.
Juniper Anglepa. We cannot disclose the amount.
Oh, okay. You can't.
It's part of the NDA.
I had $100,000. So
that's the total grant that they're giving.
And how long is this deal? Is it a year, 2 years, 5 months?
On average, it's going to last a year, just because there are different podcasts with different seasons. So everybody is at different stages of accepting the grant. It just lacks us for that Sincerely Accra starts the next season next year. So for us, it will carry over the season. Yeah.
Charlie, just blow the door.
You can't find it in Accra.
Spotify aside, right? This goes to you. How are you positioning the content in such a way that these international bodies also can kind of spotlight you on the radar? I know there's a large Ghanaian audience in the diaspora, right? Apart from the girl who called her sister on WhatsApp, there's a few thousands more.
Yeah.
Many tens to hundreds of thousands more. How are you targeting those so that it's like Accra-based podcast?
Yeah.
But the message resonates with everybody, because I feel like we have creatives in Ghana do a lot of great stuff, but we don't. It's all here. It's all one corner.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately for us, in 2022, we have social media in the palm of our hands. You know what I mean? So that's the driving force behind us reaching, say, because if it wasn't for social media, YouTube, Spotify, they wouldn't know any of us. You know what I mean? So that's for us. That's the main thing. We're just always trying to put it out there on social media. And with regards to reaching out to the diaspora, we've spoken to Mandy Saru. She came to Ghana for the YouTube conference. Let me call it that.
The Creators Conference.
Creators Conference, yeah. And she's a big YouTuber in Kenya. We had her on the podcast. We spoke to her about experience there, experience being a food creator and so on. We speak to people in the Ghanaian diaspora as well when they come to Ghana. So, okay, you've come to Ghana. Do you want to move here? You know, people always want to say, oh, I want to move back to Ghana. We're like, everybody in Ghana is like, we want to come to your side. You want to come here. So we have those types of conversations all the time. So we are able to reach people in Ghana, of course, because we are in Ghana. And then at the same time, we're reaching people in the Ghanaian diaspora. When we check our stats, I'm sure it's the same for you guys. We're seeing like France, Saudi Arabia, like Japan, like some strange countries. I'm like, Ghanaians today, they're like,
everywhere.
What's going on? You know what I mean? So people are really listening all over the world. So for us, social media is the main way that we reach people outside here.
Okay.
I also like to add, Joseph is already leveraging on Twitter Spaces. We haven't done that yet. So we've been having conversations about how that would be great for us, especially since it's easier to have a conversation with someone who's in a different country on Twitter Spaces as compared to, let's do a podcast and then now we are trying to virtually record. So we are trying to have collaborations with creators in other countries. I mean, baby steps. We'll start with Ghanaians in other countries and then we'll try and leverage on that and then move out with our Twitter Spaces, and then we also started doing vlogs. So, I mean, if we get to travel, if you guys give us money to travel.
JJ with the social media platforms.
I actually helped Elon Musk buy Twitter.
Really?
But the deal was that we're just trying to create a new one. So, you know.
How much of the 44 billion was yours?
One
of the billions.
Yes, one of the billions. But, you know, you guys speak all this and make it sound so full-time. And there's a lot of work in it. But you did mention in the beginning that, you know, you do these things on the side. So I want to understand the time balance. And because it's a lot of work to do this and combine with, you know, if you engage with other things, with living.
I have a quick response, and I think Afi could identify with this. When we first started, we put our episodes every week. Yeah. So essentially our schedule was, we went to the studio on Saturday, everybody recorded, and then got edited on Sunday, and then everything got put out. I lost my social life, and I'm still recovering, essentially, because it was a year where Donald and I just couldn't make any commitments unless it was a marriage or something. Actually, I missed a friend's marriage.
Wow.
Donald went. I stayed in the studio just because recording had to happen, and we were bound by our schedule. So it does get intense. It is full-time, and I think when you listen to people, especially fellow Ghanaians putting out podcasting, there's a lot of work and love and passion that's being put in. It's full-time. It's not paid as much, but it really is full-time.
What about you? Like, you know,
Joseph, do you have something to say?
Yeah, okay, so for me, it goes as far back as high school because I was in like so many extracurricular activities and I was also doing school. So I think I've been learning about multitasking for a while now. Yeah. But how I see my life is I have a 9 to 5, then I get home, and then at 8 p.m., I work on my other creative stuff till like midnight. So we have a lot of meetings on like content. You know, I used to just go on there and record. Now I actually have to script some of my jokes and things like that because the pressure is on.
The pressure is getting worse.
The pressure is getting worse, and I feel like I now have to be funnier. And, you know, we have an event coming up, Mosaic on 26th November. I'm going to be on stage, so I've started writing my jokes, editing videos. So basically, 9 to 5, then 8 to midnight, I'm editing videos and stuff for the show, and then on Saturdays we record in the studio. So I only have Sundays free to myself, unless they say, oh, Sunday.
So for you, this is almost like full time now.
It is.
Okay.
I have to.
Oh, is it the same across to everyone?
Yeah. So I'm like Joseph. I also have a 9 to 5. So you do that, and then we usually record on Sundays. But sometimes if the guests can't come on a Sunday, immediately from work, you see me with my big bag. I have to go and change in the studio, and then we record. So yeah, it's definitely stressful. And like Cyril said, you sacrifice time with friends and family. Like sometimes my parents are like, "Hey, you every day you're going out." Kind of stuff. But it's like we have the passion.
Job is the job.
The job is the job, Charlie. Like I can't let my 9 to 5 enjoy my podcast suffer and vice versa. So you have to sacrifice the time.
So assuming things pick up financially on the monetary side.
The answer is yes, Cyril. Next question. I've got to do long. The answer is yes.
I hope you guys are connected into the whole year of return, the Christmas, the
diaspora, I was just coming to that.
all that coming in, because you see, I invented Facebook. All that's happening because you literally have your the potential to blow up your audience, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you have plans for that? Do we have any way where we are seeing stay by plan? Okay, the way she's pushed the mic, then I jumped the gun.
Bad pressure.
Bad pressure.
Yeah, for sure. These guys are about to have an event this month. We are also working on an event probably late December or early January. Still working on it. So for sure, we are just trying to create enough awareness while people are in the country. Because some of the people in the country are the people who make these decisions to be giving out thousands of dollars and things. And me, I would also like some thousands of dollars. I was changing my phone and things. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we are just trying to, like, position ourselves properly, go for the right events, meet the right people, and then just kind of, like, spread the word with the podcast, you know, collaborate with people, other podcasts, you know, even beyond podcasting. So, yeah, that's what we are trying to do for December, yeah.
I think I'm identifying the December events that have a lot of social capital to see if I can be there, not as somebody enjoying the show, but in the capacity of like media, because I do Vox Pop, so I'd like to...
so you're talking about Wilderland?
Mm-hmm. Is that happening this year? I don't... Oh, okay. Well, other shows, are you promoting for them?
No.
Yeah, so...
You're the scripter. You said, you know, a good show, lots of diversity, entertainment.
Yeah. So an opportunity to either interview like the guests, the artists and stuff, or, you know, people that attend, and to create content for the page. Because if you manage to put somebody on your page, they will share it, and before you know, their friends from America and everywhere will also follow them. So
definitely.
So recently, the president shared Kirani Ayat's, his video was captured in the video reel that the president shared to boost or promote tourism in Ghana. Do you have any instances or issues of copyright, you know, with the content you create and, you know, putting people's faces out there, and, you know, all those things? Yeah.
You mentioned you use a lot of music. Circa 2000.
Yeah. Kwame has like
so nobody has knocked on your doors yet.
So what we usually do is we talk to people sometimes, because sometimes we want the actual, I think they call it stems, right?
They call it stems.
So Kwame handles all of that. We always make sure that, you know, and what we also do is, because we play a lot of Ghanaian music, we allow people to send us music. So we have a lot of new artists, they send us music, and then the ones that Kwame likes, he puts on there. So even though we play a lot of the old music, we also have some new music that is sent to us by the artists themselves. So...
Yeah. And also for us, just like Sincerely Accra, music is the backbone of our podcast as well. When we started season 1, we used to, at the end of every episode, we'll ask the guest, what song are you feeling right now? What do you want the listeners to go and listen to? And then they'll tell us, then we'll put it on the end of the episode. And then one day, I just decided to like go and read the terms and conditions. I said, I'd be like, we have to stop adding people's songs to the end of our podcast, you know what I mean? So now we just say, this song by this person, you guys, when you go and listen to it, open your Spotify, open your Apple Music, go and listen to it. So yeah, we are trying to be more conscious of like copyright, because one day you can't just be there and then someone will just take everything away from you just because you played one song. You know what I mean? So we are really aware of that.
Okay, so let me just be a bit political here. As a representative of the sitting government, and also a rep for the opposition party.
Okay.
And also a co-rep for the other political parties that are not in parliament. Who hasn't been officially hired by any of them. I want to find out, yes, we always put pressure on government agencies to create an enabling environment for, you know, creators to be able to coexist. But have you guys in any way approached any of these agencies, you know, to have discussions on things? Because, for example, I mean, there's December in Ghana coming. I've seen a tall list of events that the Ministry of Tourism and Motag has shared. But I haven't seen anything that speaks to content creators being able to also amplify the experience online, you know, because it is on our platform that we talk about those things for free and people watch it, and then the credits just go back to the ministry and say, yeah, we did it. But have there been that kind of
as a rep to the government?
Yes.
What else?
Unofficially, who has
unofficially unemployed.
Actively checking in.
Yeah.
What I would say is we probably have one or two decks in an email and maybe hand-delivered sitting at the Ministry of Tourism somewhere. So maybe if you go and you open some cabinets, you might see...
Oh, you've been sending...
So you've tried to reach out to the ministry?
We have tried. And I think it's one of those things where when we first started, it literally was, we were podcasting, so we're just like barreling through. We do try to be intentional in terms of leveraging partnerships and reaching out. But the reality in Ghana is, in as much as people do speak to collaboration and partnership, they really aren't about that until they feel there's something for them to gain from you. Mm-hmm. That's just the honest reality. Mm-hmm. So for us, GCR, we kind of have to be very intentional about creating the space and carving out what we want to do. So when you speak to events, back in 2017, we had, 2019, I think we had the first live podcast in Ghana, West Africa, I think. This was our front back. Then COVID happened. Then we repositioned that into Mosaic as Nubuke. And this year we are doing this again. This is us now creating a platform for our show hosts to go on stage and speak to a live audience. We're not waiting for anyone to come and do that for us. It's us leveraging the relationships we have to build that. This year we are actually bringing on a music act. And I think I can share today we have Baba J, Juma Mufasa, and Reynolds performing. Because our thinking is, you know what? If we are going through the trouble of having a venue and getting light, stage, and sound, we can also share that with people. So that's what we mean when we say we are being intentional, because we really do want to collaborate. And sometimes, that's the ad. Yeah. And sometimes you kind of have to show working. It would be amazing to have other people reach out to us and actually mean it, but sometimes you kind of have to do it yourself and eventually hope that you chance into people who maybe see the vision or on the same wavelength as you. And then we get that going.
Well, I think for me, I always see there was a quote that I saw from Issa Rae talking about how when you're in an industry, you should hold hands with people that are on the same level with you, because usually when you're trying to reach above, they don't look at you the same way. They think you are trying to benefit of clout or whatever. So, I mean, I've been on Zoo and Afi's live show. I always repost their stuff. We do our very best. So
you invite us? This is racism.
As a racist,
they didn't know that you were behind Twitter.
It will get there because now, after having this, now this network has happened now, because I used to listen to Cyril, so this is like networking, but without knowing it is hard because there have been people that we've reached out to that we haven't heard anything from. So sometimes you're like, you know what, let's just look to ourselves and do our thing. I remember I tweeted saying that you never really see the importance of creatives to the government until it's time for what's it called, voting, and they start doing all these dramas where they are saying vote. Now they see, but honestly, I don't see a lot of support from there.
Okay, so now that we've all been in agreement and helped you speak a lot about what you're doing, let me push you out of the comfort zone and let's start the argument in the last. We have about 10 minutes more, roughly 7 minutes more to go.
Let's do it.
Cyril mentioned something very important that we've just jumped for a second, and it talks about how you localize the content so that it's impacting, like by the far side. Brilliant content. It was podcast, yes. It had a national appeal. And yes, I wasn't there. I didn't watch some, but I'm just.
But you heard about it.
But I heard about it because I was doing Facebook. You understand? Your content that you create. Do you feel that it is so limited to a certain Accra Gen Z market, possibly watching from Spain, America, and not having that person who equally uses a certain smartphone that might not be as top-notch as yours, who equally has access to internet, who's in faraway land in the back of Sunyani somewhere, who also shares interests, but unfortunately can't seem to connect with the things you're speaking about because they don't find themselves in the same space. They wake up to a different environment, different experiences, and they can't connect. One of the things I connected with when you said you guys speak in Triga, I love the idea. Do you feel that you are very comfortable in your space and you cover it up with challenge? This is our challenge. This is our challenge.
I'll let them go first.
Because I am looking at things that would get national attention. That it would get you a story from the borderline between Burkina Faso and Ghana for someone to be able to easily connect. And this also comes to the back of the person's tweets that, how do I reach you guys?
Yeah, so honestly, for us, for our podcast, it's really about the guests. It's centered, the conversations are centered on the guests. So it really depends on who we bring on the podcast. If, for example, we are bringing upper class people all the time, we will have an upper class audience only. But then we try to bring people from different, like our next episode, which is out on Thursday, we have an Uber driver. So he's been on streets, he's gone through things. So if you are listening to it, and let's say he mentions He said he lives at. I had forgotten where he lives, but he lives somewhere. If you hear that, this place is. They're talking about this my hometown or this thing on the podcast. Oh, okay, I rock with that. Let me check it out. So it's for us. I think it's about the guests. If, for example, like you said, we bring someone from Sunyani who's living at the back of something, and he comes on the podcast, he's going to go back to his people. Yo, I was on this podcast in Accra. Let's listen to it. This is what I talked about, and then we kind of reach people.
So how are you pushing yourself to be able to spread out so you can build all these new audience?
Yeah, so it's really, like I said, it's just about the guests. So we try to have a wide range of guests. We have people who are musicians. For example, if you have someone who's popular or famous, you get down there, you get people, all their fans to come and listen to it. But then even aside from that, we can have someone like Joseph who has his following. We can have the cleaner who works here. They will talk about it. There are people who listen to it. So for us, I think the only barrier that I see is access to internet, access to smartphones and those things. So, and then maybe that's where live shows and things can come in. But even then, there's still.
But the funny thing is, when you look at TikTok, right?
Exactly. Yes.
I would have thought that TikTok would come and will only be like purely Gen Z Dadaba people on there. Where I buy my fufu, I buy my fufu, the lady there is on TikTok. Yeah. So I feel like we have a lot of reach with those that demographic as well. I think that I have a very well-rounded growing up. So I just try to be myself and then attract people that can relate to the things that I have been through and things that I see, and the people that we bring on as well. And so the guy in Tree will come, and so definitely that should be pull factors. There are a lot of people that actually say, "Oh, I like it when you speak Tree." I miss Tree because I'm in Germany, blah blah, something like that. So.
Yeah, and for us, we've also started doing vlogs. There was this time, so we have a photographer, shout out to Nams. Me and her went to Kantamanto together to try and get clothes.
Amazing.
So we decided to do a vlog. It's not yet out on the YouTube.
Can't wait to see
it. Yeah, we met one of the sellers. He sells jeans. And I was like, I know you, Afiche guy. And I was so scared. I was like, who is calling my name? He can't. I was like, I know you. I listened to your podcast. And he showed me so it's part of the video as well. So that was amazing. And definitely it was like a sign that, this is something we should do. We should go out in the streets and then do the vlogs. But then again, it still comes back to the balance, because if you don't have a lot of people watching, there's no incentive for someone who is at the back end to use their 3 CDs bundle to watch your video or listen.
Stuff,
they need to feel like, this is something that is worth it, or this is something that's interesting for me.
I think we owe it a responsibility to ourselves to be able to push Ghanaian. Push everything Ghanaian. Yeah. And I like we just watched your video, the promo.
Yeah,
you want to talk more about the event before we go? Our time is up.
Oh, I also want to just quickly add that that's something GCR looks to do, in that someone at Sunyani, not all our shows have to be sincerely Accra. Not all our shows have to have all the listenership. We can have shows that just have maybe 100 or 200 people listening. But the fact that it serves a need, a community, because the beauty of podcasting is anyone who is passionate and can speak to an issue, you have that platform. And that's something we want to champion. Now, speaking quickly about our show, we have a live podcast show happening on November 27th at Nubuke. Tickets are 100 CDs.
Please, where is Nubuke? People say, people know. Me, I always see that somebody's watching. Nubuke, I don't even know in Nubuke.
East Legon, down the road from Mensvik, second left after the medical center.
You're in town.
Hey,
thank you.
See.
Google Maps.
You're in town.
Bro, Mami, I know town.
So,
that's my space, bro. No, she doesn't live there.
No, but seriously, guys, you should come and check it out, because the hosts like Joseph are playing an amazing live session. We mentioned the artists Baba J, Juma, Reynolds the Gentleman, and shout out to our lovely sponsors, Jameson. We have Afriport, again, another Africa player in the podcasting scene that we're excited to introduce Ghanaians to. Aya Ticket, Ayame Dinkra, all of that. You guys should come attend.
Okay.
It's going to be a good one.
Well, our time is up. We have to go, but just one last question in one last minute. How long does an average man last in bed? I've got 30 seconds left.
Ask him how long
must an average man last in bed?
10 minutes.
5 on a bad day, 50 on a good.
34 minutes.
Let me skip.
That is oddly specific.
I'll come back to her. Yo, see, how long we for day?
For no day in bed.
So actually,
small there, won't be bad.
on that note, our time is up now, so we will back again. But thank you so much for being for joining us at this morning. It's been a very great conversation. I've learned so much from you guys. Trust me. I'm going to have a lot of conversations after this, with you guys, and I think that for me as well, I've also jumped into this space, so we'll see what's up.
Dope.
Thank you very much. Name is Jay. I'll be here with the man, Shot Town.
What's up, Zero? We're out.
And we're out tomorrow.